Sweden versus Russia, everybody. We have our series starting up here. I gotta admit that now that I look at the overlay, we might actually have a reverse here in red and blue. I'm currently not 100% certain. That's at least the way that it was mentioned on the website, but I looked at it earlier. So we're gonna find out as the game starts who's blue and who's red. So I don't want to go on that too much right now. Either way, we are currently in the in the second semi-final. I guess we can determine who is on the Swedish side and who's on the Russian side once that we see where Hanzo and Garrosh land. Hanzo and Junkrat land. That's going to be the important part. So Blaze banned out, so is Tyrael. That already lets me to believe that we might be correct, because the Tyrael and Blaze setup is something that we have seen from Sweden a lot. They really, really like to play that style, and it's banned out at this point. So I currently assume that the overlay might be correct. If we have a first pick on Hanzo, then we definitely know what's going on, at least when it's on the blue side. But yeah, for the time being, pretty standard bans with Diablo and Maiev. The one that really changed it up a little bit are Blaze and Tyrael. And the two of them with Sanctification and Bunker being layered consistently, that's really important here. First pick on Hanzo right now. And what is the reaction on the other side? I mean, again, it's a little bit annoying that I'm not 100% certain who's left and right. I still think that the overlay is correct, but just in case that isn't, let me just talk about this a bit more generically, because this is one of the setups. Okay, this is going to be Sweden. Sweden is on the right side. Okay, so we're correct with the overlay. Henning is going to play as Rega again, and we have Junkrat for Gia. But the one thing that I really wanted to say generically, but that actually applies right now, is I love the way that this is being drafted, because Russia has not only taken away two of the tools that have been consistently used by Sweden throughout this entire tournament at the front line to keep the team safe, with a Blaze ban and a Tyrael ban. They also now first picked Hanzo, which is actually really sweet, because Hanzo was one of the heroes that consistently has been played by Sweden whenever they got their hands on it. So they didn't only deny Hanzo, they denied three heroes that Sweden loves to play with. And no other team has really done it to that extent yet. So I really want to see how Sweden reacts to it. They still have Junkrat, and they have Rega, which Henning prefers to play for the Swedish side. But on the other side, Russia got a Nuburak, which is one of their go-to heroes. Normally they play that with a Nuburak and Malfurion. Of course, it works also with Nuburak with Tyrande, so one of them gets banned out now. But more and more, it seems to me that Russia is going to walk away with a draft that they're going to be very happy with. Not only because it seems that they are going to be successful in securing a strong draft for themselves that they are comfortable playing with, but more so because they're denying a lot of what Sweden played in the past. So from a draft perspective, this is actually looking really, really good right now for Russia, for the red team. Sweden has to adjust now. And this is, I feel, one of the first times in this tournament where Sweden has actually been forced to adapt to their opponent to that extent. And that doesn't mean that they can't win with any of these drafts either. This just means that right now we're going to get for the first time a bit of a taste of what Sweden plays like when they have to make heavy adjustments in the draft. They played with Johanna already before. Bergholt had a good performance on that. They played on Volskaya Foundry, for example. And we have with Dehaka now a global. So by no means is that draft weak or bad, but it's definitely a deviation from what they traditionally want to play. Especially since we had so many engagers from Swamp Grotto whenever he got his Hanzo. There's the Malfurion with the Nuburak. And we have the double brothers, Genji and Hanzo, in the same team right now. So Russia with a draft that they're going to be extremely happy with. Sweden, still with a strong lineup right now. I could see Jimmy on their end if they want to get a little bit more damage in through auto attacks. Then Reina would be a good choice. Could go for a mage, I assume too. But yeah, it's going to be a lot tougher for them. And there's Greymane, I like that as well. So Greymane is in. We have a best of 5 series here in the semi-final, of course, in our hands. France is waiting in the grand final, and one of these two teams will advance. It's going to be a super close series. That's at least what everybody expects. But let's find out who wins game number 1 on Inferno Shrines. Game on as we are heading into the first map of the best of 5 series at the Nexus contest. And currently, to the left of the map, we have Henning on Rega. We're currently also seeing Swamp Grotto on Greymane this time. That being said, Gia on Junkrat. We have Backhold on Johanna, looking at Timeless on Dehaka. And continuing on the right side of the map, we are now having Farlander on Hanzo, Barnaby on Genji, Stalk on Anubarak, Kalya Margin on Malfurion, and Toxic playing Leoric. And with that, we're heading straight into this. Currently, we have, as Bill already mentioned before, heavy adjustments for the Swedish team that they need to make here. It's still a composition that is quite scary for them, but can they take down Russia in game number 1? Stark and his boys have done a lot of work in this tournament already. They played extremely well in the group stage. They took first place, so did Sweden. Sweden dropped a few games here. And now, heading into this match, the big question, of course, still remains who will join the French in the grand final and who will play for only rank 3. So already when it comes to the talents, let's have a quick look at what we're seeing here for Dehaka and for Greymane. Viciousness coming in with the Inner Beast focus from Swamp Grotto, and the Enhanced Agility now taken as well. So trying to get these setups a little bit more where you can just try and flank from the side with Dehaka, use that movement speed bonus to get onto your target, get a drag through, and try and hope for your team to get the kill in there. Especially, of course, Greymane, who is going to be most of the burst damage, are going to be responsible for most of the burst damage. But we have also isolation tools through Junkrat, and Gia has taken Junkrat in every game that he could. Henning also a huge fan of Rhaegar, as we could see throughout the entire tournament. Picking the hero whenever he can, having that cleanse available, being able to also throw that Ancestral out, big for him. Stark already has to deal with Junkrat and his displacement at the bottom of the map. But the two teams in the early stages are now focusing on camps, or at least from the Russians, that what we're seeing here. They're taking the camp away. Swedish team so far not really focusing on it, instead trying to force the fight over the camp at the bottom, and it's a 3 versus 4 for the time being because Genji isn't here yet. Could now make the play, but Berkhold is zoning them out, and that just allows them to get the time that they need to take the camp here. So already a few small opportunities for skirmishes here in the early stage of the game. Nobody's really focused too much on kills just yet. Looking, of course, for opportunities, but not trying to force it too heavily. Everybody's still showing each other a lot of respect here. Those are two top teams that go up against each other in the tournament, and so you have to be a bit careful that you are not getting bodied in the early game and then have to try and play catch-up throughout the next few minutes. Hanzo's build, again, focusing here with target practice on level 1 immediately into the Stormbow. So target practice straight into the explosive arrows gives him the AoE damage that he can then also use on the Shrine itself to get a few more stacks for his own team. With that being said, Leoric, of course, trying to go straight in for the extra wave clear, Kneel Peasants. And that's a great talent that allows him to rotate between 2 lanes and keep up with his opponent too, Dehaka, to make sure that those lanes are being pushed out. Both of the teams are focusing on their Shaman camp and trying to also time it, of course, around the objective. But that also means that Dehaka could stay topside, could try and push one more wave out, maybe even deal with the opponent's Shaman, and then make the rotation towards the bottom. So the situation is actually pretty good heading into the first objective for the Swedish team. Toxic is still there. Needs to stay a little bit longer and is willing to take that fight. But again, Dehaka has the global and can move down where most of the action is currently happening, as Stark and his boys are trying to establish a position on the Shrine. Barnaby has to jump out though on Genji. And now Sweden taking over. Taking the position and also taking a massive lead in those minion stacks. Way ahead with the wave clear that they're running here. Johanna, Junkrat and Greymane doing fantastic work, and Lightning Shield of Rhaegar obviously helps too. And more it seems like they might be able to claim the first one. But here comes Toxic on Leoric, draining Dehaka as he burrows in. A lot of damage also on the front line. Wow, Johanna is about to go down. Yep, that's a quick kill there. Iron Skin was used earlier and it was just not enough to get her out of harm's way. So Johanna has fallen, and just like that, Russia is taking over the Shrine and objective number 1. 38 stacks, they claim the Punisher. That was well done by them. Level 7 talent also in their hands. Bitsuna, that allows us now again for the drain momentum for Leoric. Gets the movement speed here as well. And on top of that, we're now having the Chitinous plating. Punisher gets baited over, the follow-up, and boy, Greymane got wrecked. The immediate jump by 3 heroes onto the target, following it up on the Punisher, even without opening the wall, just saying no matter who he jumps on, we are gonna wreck that kid, and that's what they did. So the wall has fallen, they got an additional kill. Leoric is having the rotation going in. Backhold gets bodied again! Like he's nearly... Oh, well, scratch the nearly, he is down. Genji went in and secured the kill. And that's 3-0 and a level lead for Russia heading into the game. Damn! They are absolutely running the show in the early game. And I mean, it goes so far as that they can take down a fort. And that's with their first Punisher. 5 minutes into the game. And they have the first fort eliminated. That is a horrible start for Sweden. And yeah, they will have to adapt to this now. But this is exactly what we expected. I mean, we expected the Russian team to come out swinging here. Personally, I had Sweden down as the favorite for the series, but I expected this to be by far the closest series of the semifinals and of the bracket stage in general. Now, of course, with level 10 being so close, the big question is, can Sweden maybe pick up a kill somewhere? And they tried. They went topside and looked at Leoric, but they couldn't really get him here. And now that level 10 abilities are in, the big question is pretty much just simply how Russia plays it. Because from Sweden's perspective, it's simple. You're trying to stay safe. You're trying to make sure you're not going to get killed. But Russia, they want to, of course, get some advantage out of this. So they are immediately invading the camp on the bottom left. But there's very little else that they can go for right now. The camp up to the top left is going to be up in 40 seconds, but that's not going to be in time. So if they want to do something, they might be able to break through the wall in the middle and at least get those turrets eliminated. But Sweden is playing it super safe right now. They're playing as far back as they possibly can. They're trying to make sure that they always have vision on the opponent's team, and if not, they're moving away from it. So very little that Russia can do except for focusing the mid lane now. And that's exactly what happens. So they take one of the turrets down, trying to break through the gate too. And you have to be careful, because if Leoric at any point hits that Entomb against, let's say, Greymane, for example, that might just be enough to drop him. Especially if Hanzo follows up with an arrow. But the wall falls. Level 10 is then also in the hands of Sweden, so now they can use that. They have Cursed Bullet on Greymane. Overgo for the throat, so they can burn away at the front line too. The Cocoon plays were one of the reasons why oftentimes we are seeing Nuburak banned out after the first game when Russia uses it, and these heavy engages that can be forced around the Cocoon, one of the trademarks for Stork in particular. Blessed Shield misses Genji! And Barnaby is moving away. They're hitting the arrow though, and all of a sudden Dehaka's in trouble. Needs to use the essence and does exactly that. But it's a bit of a dance around the shrine here at the same time as the fight happens, as we have it activating again. And here comes Stork going in. The Entomb misses. Misses the Entomb. They can't go for Johanna here. They were trying to blow the front line up, but now, of course, cooldowns are already low. Again, the damage coming out. Great root from Malfurion. Hits it against Dehaka. Timeless has already used the essence. Can't do that anymore. Toxic kept alive by Malfurion. They're going in again, and here's the Cocoon on Rhaegar. They're trying to get the kill in. Ancestral Healing hasn't been used. That Timeless is low. Here comes the Ancestral. And the Isolation has missed. Dehaka hasn't been able to hit it. The kill against Leoric in the back. Nice move by Swamgrotta. He's able to get out, but still suffers a lot on the way out. Gets dropped to 50% HP. Sweden is already ahead on the minion count. 3 kills against 1. And up to the top now. Johanna trying to push the lane out too, but Russia is not giving up on this just yet. It's only Leoric that dies. He's gonna spawn on the spot again. Barnabia barely escaping. Timeless is a little bit deep in. 23 against 25 stacks, and Genji is looking for a reset. Here comes the Entomb again. They're going for it. Burrow already used. We have the... oh, the arrow missing at this point. And the healing ward in a great spot where it keeps Sweden alive. 30 against 30 right now, but Russia is low, very low, especially on Leoric. He's barely kept alive here. Hanzo again with a scatter shot, trying to get some damage in, but Sweden is making the play and they're grabbing it. The Cocoon comes out once more, but they can't get the kill here. Oh my god, they even get the drag. Genji, protected by the way, is able to make it out, but just barely. Gets the protection that he needs. Needs some healing now too, but he finds that in form of the fountain. Even goes back to the base. paths back here. Stork is also super low. I mean, Sweden is pushing their advantage as much as they can. They're already taking down the entire wall. The second turret falls, and they are trying to get a fort now too. But obviously, Russia is trying to defend that, prevent it as long as they can. There's again the Entomb, but they have to move away from this. Junkrat with all the random damage coming out, and he still has Riptire up as well. Can use that too, but the level 13 talent in the hands of Russia. Timeless low, Riptire comes out, pushes them back, and still the approach for Anubarak. Stork is not falling though, and Swamp Grotta is low. The arrow this time connects! And that's the kill against Greyman, and they're going for a second one. Both of the wolves are down, the pack eliminated. Berghult is suffering too, and they're following it up even more. They're trying to go in with Genji, and they're getting the kill. They're body blocking, they get the kill, they have the Cocoon on the ground. The Haka is also getting obliterated. Sweden loses 4 on the way back, and then Nubarak is spawning a few more beetles, soaking the shots, Toxic moving away as he got targeted. And Sweden, they might not be able to get the fort in the mid lane, but guess what? Russia does. Mother Russia with 2 forts taken already. And now we have 7 kills against 1. Damn! The Russian team doing so well here. The aggression in the team fight, it's just symptomatic for Russian playstyle in general. I mean, since Heroes was released, the Russian teams were always some of the most aggressive ones that we've seen in the scene. And now they are again just looking for these fights whenever they can. With the help of Hanzo, they're now claiming another camp. Just before Farlander moves back to mostly restore mana. But they have now a great lead. Not only a structural advantage on the map that's going to give them passive experience, but we're also seeing them at this point already ahead by an entire level. More than that even. I mean, we're basically looking at a 2-level lead for them right now. And they have done fantastic so far. Can they get the talent lead throughout the next objective? That's a big question. But 16 is still an entire level away. They're looking for more kills though. They want to fight. Here comes the bullet. Blessed shield. Not hitting too much. In comes the Entomb, but Leoric should be able to walk away from this. And he has the Ominous Wraith now. So damage reduction comes in as well. And for Sweden, this is something where you don't really... I'm not quite sure if you want to fight in that choke point. Genji is already topside, by the way. He's top, trying to escort the Shaman camp straight into the fort to get even more damage onto it. But the map is now completely taken by the Russian team. They're going from one camp to another. They're taking the mercenaries here. They're of course aiming for level 16. And if you look at the scoreboard right now, we have them half level away from the next talent. And since the shrine hasn't even been announced yet, they're going to get it. 30 seconds. It's all that they're going to need here. They steal more camps away. And Sweden is in a really ugly spot now. You kind of have to try and play around this a bit in a way that you are either forcing a fight before 16 hits, and well, you can kiss that goodbye, or you have to simply give up on the shrine. And Russia is trying to go for the fight. They're moving in already. Genji is a bit low, but that doesn't even matter. In comes the Cocoon. Arrow hits the back line, and Rhaegar is entombed. He's not going to get away from this anytime soon. Henning is trying to escape, and might even be able to escape. Wow! Sweden with the coordination to keep Rhaegar alive, and even Swamp Grotta and Timeless, who are also being attacked here, are making it out of it. Or are they? Berghult is attacked, had the Iron Skin up, but the chase is still on and Henning is falling. Henning goes down, that's the reset right there on the Swift Strike. 1 down, 2 down, they go for more. They're not even dealing with the objective at this point, they're just looking for kills again. Aggressive as usual. Stork is going in again. Stork is, everybody else is like, let's go back. And he's like, no, we're going to get more. 16, 9 kills against 1. Top lane suffers a bit of pressure from the camp. Is being defended now. And with that advantage, they're going straight for the objective again. I mean, they're going to run with the Punisher plus a lead in the talents. And this is rough. This is rough for Sweden. Not a good start. But again, don't forget, when we're looking at the series that we had just previously, where France played against Ukraine, it was a pretty similar picture in game number 1, and the entire series was turned on its head very, very quickly afterwards. So this is a best of 5. Winning 1 map, and they haven't even done that yet, doesn't mean you're going to win the series. And as they are about to lose Leoric, well, scratch that, because here comes the arrow and the turnaround again. Jumping in, bam, down goes Rhaegar. They want more, and they might get it too. The drag against Leoric prevents the worst for a few seconds, but Swamp Grotta is about to die. Both of the wolves are down, and they're looking for more kills too. They're trying to go for Johanna. This time, no Iron Skin is going to save her. Johanna about to fall. Rhaegar again with the drag. At least a counter kill against Hanzo, but damn! Russia! The second they see a potential fight, the second that Toxic is being attacked, they are just immediately like, fuck that shrine, let's go and fight. This is a hero's brawler after all. It's not like this is a MOBA or anything. So they go straight in, and they now delay it a bit more. From the perspective of Sweden, there's one advantage that they have through that. They will at least have the level 16 for the defense. From a Swedish perspective, they at least have that. It's actually not that bad. I mean, if you look at experience, it's still a 2-level disadvantage. But they have their level 16 talent. The big problem is that it seems more and more as if Russia just delays that Punisher for even longer, because the longer they delay it now, the better their chances to fight for the next Punisher on level 20. And Sweden is not making a move for the objective, which means that Russia can just simply sit there and say like, well, we're not even threatened to take it right now, so we're going to wait a bit longer, then we're going to claim it, can claim it now, and even if they take it just now, the chances of them hitting level 20 towards the next objective or having that in their hands already are astronomical. It's basically guaranteed. Yeah, there they go. They take the camp at the bot lane, take the Punisher, and now they're starting to move in for this one. Great spot for Russia. I mean, this should already be keep, right? So they should already get a keep. They even timed it with a top camp too, so this might even get the fort. Things are looking grim for Sweden. Malfurion with the Sarah's gift on level 16. We have now also the epicenter. That alone for Nubarak is going to make his engage so much easier. And the bait from the Punisher into the middle as the keep is being attacked. Zero chance of saving this one. No chance whatsoever. At this point, you have to be worried about game, to be honest. If you lose a hero or two here, it's lights out. There's the Ancestral. Alright. We have the Entomb also being used. They're starting to move in again. Riptire. Johanna in the cocoon. Barnaby is still alive after this engage. And the Punisher is on the core. The drag, but Berkult is low. And he gets wrecked. Punisher goes in for a little bit of a party here. Makes the drop happen. And Russia wasting zero time with this. Going straight for the core. Going to take the first game of the series. Sweden is behind, losing Inferno Shrines. The first map with an impressive and dominant performance goes to Russia. Game 2, everybody. Sweden versus Russia. And the Russians are in the lead. Fantastic first game by them. Highly aggressive, very dominant. And a lot of that comes through the draft. What did they do? They eliminated Tyrael, they eliminated Blaze, took both of those defensive tools away from Sweden, and took Hanzo for themselves. So not only the bans, but only the picks, eliminating a lot of the tools that usually Sweden plays whenever they have been successful in the past. And that is exactly what you need to do if you want to win against a team on that level. You need to make sure that in the draft you're going to have an upper hand as well. And their playstyle so far is pretty good around this. Sweden again with a ban on Maiev, and Russia immediately counters with a Tyrael ban. No sanctification for you. Not going to happen. Here comes the ban on Garrosh. Are we going to see the Blaze ban? Are they going to maybe ban out some of the damage dealers here? A little bit more hesitant this time. I mean, you are in Battlefield of Eternity. That changes things up a little bit. But considering that we're now having the first pick for Sweden, you might even see a ban on Hanzo. Nope, they stay with Blaze. So very likely we're going to see a Hanzo first pick here. Yep, there we have it. Junkrat is still something that you can take away. I really doubt. I mean, Russia actually plays Rega, I'd say, too. Like, a lot of the Russian support players in the past have had again, for some reason, now that I think about it, especially the Eastern Europeans really like Rega. I have no idea why that is, but even if you think about someone like Link, for example, he was always trying to bring Rega back into this too. So the Russian teams in the past, especially around 2015, have played a ton of Rega and continue to be very loyal to that hero. So there is a chance that Rega is still an option for Russia, especially since with the Lightning Shield you can also start to focus on the Immortal a bit more. It's a great support outside of Tyrande, obviously, who still takes the cake when it comes to Immortal pressure. But from Sweden's perspective right now, they could go into Rega, but they switch it up to Tyrande this time. Now, Henning likes to play Rega, he plays it all the time. But on this map, Tyrande just reigns supreme. They have Hanzo now too, so they go into Tyrande. Also to take it away from their opponent, obviously, who plays with a Diablo Arthur setup. And that front line that we see for Russia there is already terrifying. Heavy hitters when it comes to the hit point pool. Good CC on both of them. And this is gonna be tough. Then again, Leoric is pretty decent on lane against Arthurs because you have the continuous drain. It's actually going so far that it was banned out earlier. Even more of a focus onto the tank line now. Berghuld's Johanna is banned out. So Berghult is heavily targeted here. His Tyrael is getting banned over and over again. Now his Johanna is getting banned too. Garrosh is already out. Diablo is taken. Arthur's eliminated. That leaves you with Murden pretty much, or with a Nubarak. And you could play Nubarak, Tyrande, Hanzo. Can play that. It's definitely a setup. But there's a ban on Tracer even. Alright, so let's see how this is going to work out now. My question is Junkrat, since every time Gia gets Junkrat, he plays Junkrat. So, is that going to be a hero that they're going to play here? They have made adjustments into a Jaina. Then usually we're seeing Swampgrota on Jaina, and we have Hanzo being played by Gia. That's like a bit of a setup that they have. I love the draft here for Russia. I mean, it's such a great draft. Diablo Arthurs, you have a Li Ming with it, you have Malfurion now that they couldn't get Tyrande, so you have still the roots available after either the Howling Blast or after you have Diablo stun and engage. And their lineup is really strong. Li Ming is perfect for this. You can get Reyna towards the the last pick here. If it's not picked away, there's still a lot of options for them, but Li Ming in general is great here. If a Nubarak is being picked on the other side, that's a great tool too. And here comes Genji and Murden. So we neither see Jaina, nor do we see them playing this with Junkrat. So a bit of a different approach from Sweden this time. But now we have Jim Reyna. You can go into Sergeant Hammer. So Russia has a great draft here, once again. I could totally see them go for Jimmy here. I mean, you have Leoric against you. You need to be careful about an Entomb or the Murden jump Storm Bolt. But if you go for Fight or Flight on level 4, you can mitigate a lot of the damage. Phoenix for the auto attack works, of course, as well. And you can get the combo with the Phoenix ult right after Stork uses Lightning Breath. So the slows are applied too. You have Arthurs to that end as well. Great draft for Russia. Really like it. Sweden, they have to prove themselves now with the Shimada brothers and see if they can win game number 2 or if Russia is going to take the 2-0 lead here. Alright. That is actually pretty sweet. That is a terrifying draft if you're on the Swedish team. That is seriously a terrifying draft. Game number 2, Sweden against Russia in the best of 5 at the Nexus contest. Henning on Tyrande for the Swedish team on the blue side, Swampgrota on Hanzo, Gia on Genji, Berghult on Murden, and Timeless on Leoric. And to the right side, the Russian team with once again a great draft for them. We have Farlander on Li Ming, Toxic on Arthurs, Kolyo Marshin on Malfurion, Banana Beer on Phoenix, and Stork playing Diablo. It's a terrifying draft. I mean, the front line already is super strong. Banana Beer is gonna stand here for a while to just see if Genji is gonna try and take the fountain down. So he's going to wait until Genji appears on the map, and then he's going to make his way over. You oftentimes see that when a Genji is played on this particular map, on Battlefield of Eternity. And the second that Genji is showing his face out any lane, Phoenix knows that he can just simply move out of this one. And with that being said, we have Genji, of course, with the ability to move to the top lane. He can offset the balance there a little bit. But the lineup down here is just absolutely great. So Phoenix already starting to move in, realizing Genji hasn't shown himself yet, is now in the mid lane, can make the move. Not Berghult missing the stun here, the first one at least, but at least, ooh, Stork. It's getting a bit of a beating there. Good damage coming out, especially with Henning landing in the Hunter's Mark and also dropping the quick stun there too. In terms of talents, we have on level 1 Power Hungry. So still playing around the globes here. Also seeing for now Frost Presence taken from Arthurs. And again, this is going to be a pretty great game. Against Li Ming, by the way, we have third wind now in Mirrodin. In general, that's already great talent. Oftentimes, you still see Perfect Storm taken to stack a bit more from the burst damage that you can get with Mirrodin. But if you're up against the Li Ming and you are kind of locked into that fight in the middle of the map when the objective spawns, he wants to be able to soak a couple of the shots here, and that's why we have him going for third wind, so he can retreat that. There's the engage. The Auric is down. They're trying to go for Stalk. He gets the stuns, and in comes Genji. Oh, and Genji nearly dies, barely gets away with less than 50 HP. Stalk, on the other hand, was about to drop too, but made the escape there. Both of them very much so on the line here. And Backhold, yeah, a lot of damage in the early game. Russia, with all the aggression, with all the entire setup here, Sweden, of course, wants to fight back. I mean, Sweden, they are still the Korea of Europe, and they want to make sure that they're not simply getting taken out here by their opponent, but this is the series that we expected. This is super, super difficult for the two teams. Again, it's tense. Sweden against Russia, it's a highlight. The series between Ukraine and France was great already, but this one is supposed to be pretty much the highlight of the bracket stage up to this point, and so far the first game definitely delivered. Genji at the top, trying to go for the first camp here. I mean, this is going to be called out pretty soon that Genji is missing, so especially Arthur has to be careful with this. But now that we have level 4 talents in play, we're also seeing the rotation with the first Immortal straight to the Shaman camp, trying to take that first. And look at this, Sledgehammer! Really trying to have a bit more race potential on the Immortal, trying to get that extra damage in. It's really surprising that he didn't go into Perfect Storm. I mean, normally when you're seeing Perfect Storm taken, most players still don't think that Sledgehammer gives them enough, even on Battlefield of Eternity, to make the adjustment there. Because if you have the double Thunderclap later, the synergy with your healing starting on level 13 gives you so much sustainability that very few Meridian players are willing to give it up. But even without the Perfect Storm now, on level 1, we are still seeing Sledgehammer. So they still feel that they need a bit more to take these Immortals. And already, we have the position taken down here at the bottom. Hanzo, of course, wants to get as close to the Immortal as he can right now. We've seen in the previous game how strong he is on this. By the way, bit of a different build for Hanzo. Hanzo went into Redemption first, and then straight into the Explosive Arrows. So no focus onto the Scatter Shot here instead. It's kind of interesting regarding the map. Neil Peasant's on level 4 for Leoric, and he still deals with Phoenix at the top. Phoenix, of course, can rely on his shield mechanic to keep himself in the lane. Can be played as a solo laner, and has sometimes been played in exactly that position in the past. But down here, still a wraparound, and just try and see if they can maybe get closer to not only the Immortal, but also someone will eventually have to help Farlander at the bot lane, at least if Swamp Grota and Tanning both are continuing to push this. Right, Toxic gets sniffed out here, and they're starting to move in. Russia with the engage, and they go for Mirrodin, but Arthur's already low, has to be cautious. Li Ming gets the damage through, gets the mana here from Malfurion. But still both of them looking and waiting for level 7. Very hesitant. A couple of small attempts to go for an engage, but no one is really making too much of a move and really fully commits here. Level 7 abilities, they give us the Celestial Attunement, give him the Axe from Mirrodin, and again trying to set up traps. I mean, they're both waiting for the opponent to make a mistake that they can exploit. And here comes the engage onto Mirrodin. At least get the combo of Li Ming through, but also good damage against Stalk. Both of the frontliners have now taken a lot of damage here. Oh, Swamp Grotto and Hanzo is in trouble though. Backhold with a third wind is not going to have a problem getting back to health, to full health, but still, with that attack against Hanzo, all of a sudden Russia has the better position and uses it immediately to drop the Immortal down to 50%. Fantastic decision by them. Really quick, Genji jumping in, jumping out, making the way back. Stalk is in trouble, but Backhold too. Backhold about to fall. Can they get the counter kill? They go for Diablo, but Gia dies. Russia with another double kill here, and immediately focusing their attention towards the Immortal. They're going to win this one. Easy peasy. Great beginning of game 2 for the Russian team here. 2 kills and an Immortal with roughly 60% shield. Job well done by them. And a bit of a weird start for Sweden now. Not only not getting the objective, but losing 2 heroes in the process. They were close to getting the kill against Diablo, but Stalk was kept alive by Malfurion, and then with how deep Gia went, he fell too. He was hoping for the reset, but couldn't get it. And that meant he was a bit too deep. And now the push at the bot lane, and that's a big one, as we said before. Immortal already still shooting from a distance. As long as he has a shield, he has a ranged attack. Once the shield is taken down, he switches into a melee attack mode. And that's what we're seeing right now. Wall is down, and that is going to be a lot of pressure on that fort. They're trying to get even more. They're trying to get a kill. The flip into the root and the pressure onto Muradin. Well done. And that fort might fall, and that would of course mean a lot of passive experience in the hands of Russia, and they're looking for it again. They're poking from the distance. They're looking with Diablo for the engage. The setup is there, and that's the death of Muradin. Muradin down as Stalk engages, gets the flip, and of course, right away, Kolya Martian is there, gets the roots on the ground, and Li Ming says, thank you very much for the setup. Here's my combo. Have a nice death. And that's level 10. That's not only a fort eliminated, that's level 10 in their hands. And they make them move down up to the top lane to go for that. But it shows again what a good combo and really good synergy between players can accomplish. I mean, it's 3 heroes that just line everything up. Li Ming doesn't shoot her abilities out before the combo starts. If she's on cooldown when the combo happens, they're never gonna get that kill. So Li Ming holds the spell back, Malfurion holds the root back, and everybody is focused on Stalk. And Stalk's call is what is law at this point. He says, I go, I'm gonna get Muradin, and then immediately you see Malfurion following it up, and Farlander gets the angle, gets the combo through. They make it happen twice. Twice, it works perfectly, and they get the kill. Here comes the Hanzo arrow, and that actually missed pretty heavily. I think Berghold was hoping to get a Stormbolt in there before and set it up. Heroic abilities on both sides, but a cooldown burned. Shouldn't be a problem, to be honest. I mean, Svamgroda throws it out and doesn't hit it there, but it's early, so it's not like he won't have the cooldown back for the team fight later on around the next objective. They were hoping to force a 5 versus 4 since Arthas is at the bot lane, but they're not getting that fight. Well, actually, they might. I'm a little bit curious about this idea of Russia to go for the objective, but they're actually abandoning it now. Leoric immediately moves in and is going to start and take it, and that makes a lot more sense. But if you're Russia, you can't really force that fight, since this is going to be a 5 versus 4. I think they were hoping for someone to make the rotation back to the bottom lane to deal with Arthas. Arthas, by the way, is not pushing this out. The entire time he was just soaking here. He doesn't want to push this out at this point in time. And also he doesn't know where the opponent is, so if someone starts to rotate in here from the top and ganks him, he doesn't want to be in that space. So he's just playing it as safe as he possibly can. And I'm actually impressed with how clean Russia has been playing a lot of those games. And again, moving in here. Cam's taken. The early damage against the Immortal. Good job from them. And coordinated and disciplined, moving back for the time being. Falling back to their own Immortal, trying to take the defensive posture to force the opponent to take a fight amongst all of those Immortal stuns. Fully stacked Diablo, by the way, too, so his hit point pool is pretty solid. 10 stacks on the baseline quest for Muradin. So he's still 15 away from getting Pierce and the cooldown reduction. And up to the top, Barnaby is just pushing this in. Whenever they have the position, they're putting Phoenix with a ranged attack into a spot where he can either warp out, but push that in too. Forces Leoric to be in that slot. And now at the bot lane, the defense as well. So both of the teams are trying to defend against the Shaman camp. But mid lane is where the action is going to start in a few seconds. And this is the fight that Sweden is going to try and force now, because they know 2 heroes are at the bottom of the map, so they're trying to get some free damage in before they have to face the music again in the fight. But the lead in experience is in the hands of Russia, and that passive experience that we see coming in is now going to be there too. Again, the damage against Muradin, forcing Avatar. Tries to get the Stormbolt, and the arrow misses again. The Entomb is there, but they're fighting on the Immortal right now, and there comes the salvo. Barnabia dies on Phoenix. Salvo attempt by him gets some damage through, but Malfurion gets dropped too. Sweden engages, and they are all low, but they got the kills, and that's the only thing that matters right now. They get the kills, they don't lose anybody, and that was the engage they needed. Even though they missed the arrow, they are still able to take Phoenix down. Shire on Genji and the rest of the team, they collapse on him, they drop him quickly, they get the follow-up kill against Malfurion, and now they can try and go for the objective here. Great engage by them. Sweden showing signs of life in game number 2. Stalk and his boys trying to defend the Immortal for as long as they can, but with only 3 heroes, it just can't make a difference here. And that's Immortal number 2 now in the hands of Sweden. The fight, on the other hand, against Berghold, who might be in trouble here, does not get hit by the Howling Blast on the other hand. But yeah, big aggression in the middle just before the Immortal is on lane. 13 talents now in the hands of Russia. Slight advantage when it comes to those. It's a small window, but it's there. It's there, and it allows Russia to take a more aggressive stance around the Immortal. And that's what they're doing right now. Also, look at the 13 again, the Shattered Armor. You have to be careful now. If Arthas connects with you, you are a lot more vulnerable. So you have to be careful. They burn the shield down, so they get that. But they are trying to defend the fort, and I'm not quite sure they can pull that off. In comes again the arrow, the X-Strike, and Phoenix just disappears. He's already gone. Entomb is still out, could use it here. Doesn't use it against Arthas, they're still waiting. And great kill again by Sweden. Sweden definitely back to business now. They took the fort at the top side. They're looking fantastic here. They're moving through with all the aggression that they can muster. Not dropping the Entomb. They're just giving up on the Immortal, but they get the wall at the keep itself. And this game, we're in for a fight, and for a big one at that. A lot of those engages were pretty solid. I might even forgive Timeless for taking the Pleb Mount here and going for the Battle Beast. But yeah, the level 13 ability is healing static, as you would expect, but keep in mind he actually went for Sledgehammer on level 4, so he's not going to get the synergy here with the double proc. But we can take a look at the damage as well now. And especially with the damage outputs, even though he has Sledgehammer, 6,000 siege damage for him, 9,000 against heroes for Muradin, 26k for Li Ming, but of course Hanzo currently ahead here. Heavy attack now against the fort at the bot lane. Nobody's defending this. This is the freebie. Up to the top, they take the camp. Russia is definitely a little bit shaken by this. That last attack did not go well for them, not at all. If Sweden can defend the top fort, that would be a dream. Then they would take the structure lead. And they're even thinking about trying to see if they can maybe force a fight down here. There's the Entomb. Welcome to the Arrow Show. And zip. That's Diablo gone. Goodbye, souls. Diablo is a lot easier to take down now. Now the camp is taking topside, so this is going to drop the fort eventually. I don't think that Leoric is going to be there in time. Maybe. Barely. No. Alright, that one's down, but they took all the souls away from Diablo, so that's going to make the next fight a bit easier for them, but the structural position is the same for the tuners. Yeah, that invade, that's a different story. I mean, they can't take the camp away, but they can drop it early, and that's what they do. Arthas, on the other hand, that Stormbolt hit, and it hit hard, and that also completes the quest for Muradin, so now he's going to get the cooldown reduction, and he also has the double hit. They're moving in again, they're forcing it here, and the Entomb hits too, and it isolates Arthas as well, so basically gets 3 heroes, and Arthas is the first one to fall. Leoric might die, and indeed he does as the salvo comes in. But the Lightning Breath is also burning Muradin into a crisp. They're trying to get the follow-up damage, and he's about to go down, but barely able to jump out. Nobody really trying to follow through just yet. 13, 16 in the hands. Sweden taking the talent. Russia doesn't have it yet, and the arrow connects. Arrow, Stormbolt, Tyrandistan, and Genji kill. 7-sided. Well, he wish he had that, but he has the X-Strike, and he uses it. Another Stormbolt onto Li Ming, and pff, Farlight Knight gets the mace of Leoric straight into the face. Breaks not only the nose and the bones, but also drops Li Ming completely. And now we have another Immortal opened up. Sweden! Totally back in this series. 7 kills against 4. They're doing fantastic here. They're looking really, really strong. And yeah, with that, halftime show is an easy win. Don't even have to think about that. And now they're starting to move in for the Immortal number 2. And the lanes are pushed out, so they kind of have to deal at least with the bottom of the map, because there's 2 catapults already waiting there, so Leoric is going to take that. But outside of it, we're now having, of course, them trying to get the first keep of the game. They're moving back first, getting some mana, getting some hit points. They're not even fighting over those regeneration globes. It's all about the bot lane at this point in time. Both of the teams have now 16 talents, and that gives us Mirror Ball for Li Ming, so a lot more damage potential for her. The Remorseless Winter, another great tool for Arthas, and Ysera's Gift, again, for Malfurion, as we've seen in game number 1. We go for Backhold. Here comes the damage reduction. Arthas, Toxic, army being used. Malfurion with the ult. Timeless gets the quick Entomb out. Leoric dies, but can they get the counter kill? That's the question. And so far the answer is no. It's even a second one that the Russian team is looking for, but they're ignoring the Immortal. And you can't ignore an Immortal with shields this heavy if the only thing that stands is your keep. Here comes the Stormbolt again against Arthur's, but Muradin is getting wrecked. Had no ult anymore, could not go into Avatar, and here's the defense from the Russian team. This game is awesome. I love this game. I'm in love with this one. Back and forth the entire time, kill after kill, immortal after immortal. It's just blow for blow. We have 7 kills against 16 right now, and they are just getting so much action out on the map now. They engage earlier, and they're forcing fights everywhere. And this is the cool thing with Russian teams in general. They're really confident usually in their abilities to win team fights, and they're forcing it. But they're not just YOLOing into the battle. They're really just trying to get a good engage here and usually try and force the fight, as we just saw, behind the Immortal, behind the objective, at a point where our opponent doesn't necessarily expect it. And Sweden is playing a really cautious game because of that, as you can see now. So Sweden is careful. They know that there's a lot of aggressive potential. There's traps probably set up everywhere against them. Now we're having the keep low at the bottom of the map. Russia taking the top camp and trying to push that out a little bit more heavily. But as long as Sweden is taking the bot lane here, they can start and really attempt to maybe drop that keep through mercenaries alone. With that, we are also having a quick look at the damage numbers here. Top pressure still for them, trying to push them through here. And with the damage numbers, I mean, Li Ming is really getting the work done. And this is Farlander just following it up on all the combos as we've seen before. Phoenix is struggling a bit more. He's still sitting at 36,000 damage. But Banabir was one of the main targets in every single team fight so far for Sweden and has been dropped several times. Stark, of course, at the front, also being hit by that CC train. Henning, one of the 2 heroes that hasn't died yet. But now these guys need to move back. Because, again, it seems like we're going to have an aggressive move to at least drop the wall. I don't really believe that Russia is going to be crazy enough to try and make a play for keep here. But they are trying to open up at least the wall. If Russia goes a bit too deep in this, there's the arrow. Dodged by everybody except Li Ming. But they can't get into the back line to drop her. They were aiming for the front instead. And they don't get that. So, yeah. Heads up play by Russia. They knew there was a chance that arrow was coming, and they dodged it immediately. Arthur's on the other side, burned also the army of the dead. So he doesn't have that as a tool now anymore. So a cooldown for a cooldown, but someone has to deal with the bot lane. Russia can't just simply sit there and watch that bot lane pressuring towards the keep. That's not going to be a thing. So now camp taken from the Swedish team on the left side. They're taking the top, but the Shaman camp can't be claimed. They're 5-manning it completely. 87 souls on Diablo, so he's not going to be back if he falls. But he is at least pretty tanky already. The race is on. And right now, Russia is winning it because Tyrande was a bit late to the party. But it's still basically a 50-50 trade that we see here. Smallest of advantages for Sweden, actually. So, yeah, the Tyrande Hanzo setup and the sledgehammer on Muradin. Definitely noticeable now. And yeah, it's defense, 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 defense. That's what we're seeing here. And the camp can still be taken. So the camp at the top lane was already de-pushed. They're taking the defensive posture. Here comes Sweden, trying to get the damage in. They're looking for it. They're looking for an opportunity. The 2 tanks are, of course, like trying to flank this. They're thinking about where can we engage, which hero can we lock down. And Stork is waiting also for the Malfurion follow-up. 20 is not going to be a thing in this fight, at least not in the next few minutes. So unless this is going to be stalled out for a long time, 20 is not going to play a role here. And they're stalling it a bit. They send Arthur's top side. Genji's at the bottom. They're willing to wait. They're absolutely okay waiting. With Genji at the bottom of the map, Russia has to start thinking about how they're going to approach this. Are they really okay waiting until Sweden has 20? Because the second the Storm Talents drop into their hands, they will attack. They will go. They know that their window is super small. They have one, but it's seconds. And Arthur knows it too. That's why he's currently still trying to soak the experience at the top lane to close that gap. And Genji immediately moves bot lane again. Look at this. It's a tiny window with 20 talents. But there we go. Russia says, hey, we have to do something here. Arthur is a bit in trouble, but he has the army back. All of the cooldowns are back. Barnaby with more damage onto the Immortal. Small lead for Russia. They want to take it before 20 drops. There's the Howling Blast. Quest completed. In comes the stun. Great kill against Arthas. Locked down into the Immortal stun. The Entomb came through, and now they have the Storm Talents as well. They're going for Russia, and they're starting to take the kills. Down goes Malfurion, and that's the second one to die. Bearcool jumps in deep. He's looking for the Stormbolt. He finds it. He drops it on Stalk, but there's no follow-up. At least not now. Barnaby again trying to sneak around. He wants to see if he can maybe get the Immortal, but in the meantime, Stalk is also in trouble. Li Ming has died too, and Stalk is about to fall as well. The Stormbolt hits him. It's only Barnaby, and he is trying as quickly as he can to get that Immortal, but at this point, he just can't. It's so low. 2,000 hit points, but it doesn't matter. The shield will be low, but the core is now already nearly being scratched because they sacrificed their top keep for this. They sacrificed the top keep for the position that they have now. With 20 talents, they can move in. The Immortal moves topside, and they have to at least take the keep. And that's going to be the goal. If they kill the keep, it's going to be an equilibrium at the top lane. But they might go for core. The shields are low. Again, it's basically non-existence. The shield are super low. Stalk is already setting it up at the side. When the Immortal moves in, he might jump behind them and try and force the fight here. We have also now Repulsion taken, so that's another amazing tool for them. Look at Malfurion here with a Life Bloom. It's all about the immediate health that you want to get. And the Unconquered Spirit, that's another fantastic talent to have on 20 now for Phoenix. He has been a focus for the Swedish team, and Sweden is already setting up at the top side. Genji is pushing out the bot lane a little bit, making sure that the catapults are not becoming a nuisance, but they're going to move in with this. And cooldowns are soon going to be ready for both teams. The ones that we're still waiting for the most is Lightning Breath for Diablo. That's not going to be in game for another 30 seconds. And moving through the top is also going to allow them, with Rewind, to get this double Stormbolt in against the target. You hit a Hanzo Arrow, double Stormbolt, Tyrande Stun, they have a complete lockdown against anybody they can grab. If they have the damage behind it to drop the target, that's going to be lights out right there. If they get a good combo off, 2 Stormbolts, Hanzo Arrow, Tyrande Stun, Hunter's Mark, that should be a kill. And they're trying to make it happen. They try to blow Phoenix away, and he is dead immediately. No chance for survival. The setup is just too powerful, and they use it mercilessly. They go for Toxic. Their keep topside is about to go down. Here comes the Lightning Breath. They're trying to get the damage in to burn the Immortal to a crisp and make sure that core is not going to be threatened. But in a 5 versus 4, Sweden is thinking about it. They're looking at it. They're looking for the next kill. They're trying to get that Stormbolt, to get that combo set up, and they still have the X-Strike too. They're going for Diablo. He Hellgates out. The turnaround against Genji. Not dropped into the wall, but the core is falling. Genji is about to die, but the core is at 30%, and Sweden, they want to go for the tie in the series, and they claim victory on Battlefield of Eternity as we are about to head into game number 3. Alright, Alterac Pass, map number 3. The series is tied. Russia with a pretty convincing victory on the first map, Infernal Shrines, and then on the second we had a bit of a back and forth between Sweden and the Russian team. But right now, the series is tied as we're heading into game number 3 of the best of 5 series here at the semi-final. Blaze gets banned out immediately. Let me think, what could be the second ban? Could it be Tyrael? I actually don't know if they're going for a Tyrael ban again or if they're just saying, well, if you ban out Blaze, that's going to be enough. But yeah, they banned out Tyrael Blaze twice, but if they want to make an adjustment, banning out Blaze would probably help. They still go for it. They still ban Tyrael. And with Maiev taken out, we have now a chance for Sweden to think what they want to eliminate. The Anubarak engages that we normally see from Stalk might be something that they could be worried about, so they might be banning the front line here too. I love how Russia has prepared for this series. Sweden is definitely fighting back, and they played really well in the last game. Great coordination in most fights, but I love the draft adjustments that the Russian team has made compared to other teams that Sweden faced off again. There's the ban on Tracer again, and immediately Hanzo gets picked away. Pretty much the same MO that we had in game number 1. Exact same thing. You play against Sweden, you ban Tyrael, you ban Blaze, you pick Hanzo first, take it away from Swamp Grotta or Chia, depending on who plays with it. And now, the question again, what are we going to get in the first two rotations? Normally we're going to see the pick on the support. There's Rhaegar for Henning. Maybe again Junkrat. That was another staple for them. No, it's Arthas. I love how Arthas is coming back into this. I mean, it's not that it was only the last two games or anything, but throughout this entire tournament and even before, Arthas has slowly started to just creep up in priority. That's pretty cool to see. Arthas is a pretty cool hero, fun hero too, has a couple of builds that are both viable, so it makes for a bit of flexibility at the front line, and he's difficult to deal with, especially when timed well around the heroic ability. Leoric, on the other hand, does well against Arthas in the solo lane, and that's why oftentimes we're seeing him picked there early. Of course, now they have again another setup where they can not only drain against Arthas, but they have Entomb, Hanzo Arrow, Tyrande Stun. And Tyrande is also good for the interrupt on the channel. No Malfurion this time, actually. Garrosh gets banned out, but Diablo is still up. Could be taken by Sweden, though. Could go for Diablo here, but keep in mind this is also a map where you could play it with Stitches. Stitches on this map, whenever there's like on the prisoner camp, whenever you have a channel, Stitches gets a free hook pretty much. You need to have a follow-up though. But there's also Nubarak still around, and Nubarak and Tyrande is one of the trademark plays from Russia. So there's 3 great heroes, 4 if you count Muradin too, for Russia to be picked at the front line. But Sweden, what's going to be the play? Backhold plays usually Johanna when they don't get their first one, but nope, we have Muradin again. Muradin, Arthas, Jimmy with a setup now too. And Russia with the last 2 picks. Are we going to see the Nubarak variation? Diablo, still an option? They love to play usually without a Nubarak. Also, next damage is going to be the question too. Dehaka, by the way, hasn't been picked by either one of them. It's a big map, but nobody picked Dehaka. Abathar is out too. Nobody cares about him too much, apparently. Stitches! Yeah, there we go. Stitches and Orphea. And the last pick, Insta-Illidan. Insta-Illidan pick. Arthas and Muradin are both fantastic against Illidan. Main reasons probably why they right away went for that particular pick here is Illidan working in this game for them. Going up against Orphea and Tyrande here in Hanzo. Guys, I'm hyped. We're gonna get the hatred of 10,000 Hero League games. Let's jump into game number 3. Game number 3, Alterac Pass, and we have Swamp Grotta on Arthas this time, on the melee. Henning on Rhaegar, Backhold on Muradin, Gia on Reyna, and Timeless on the Illidonga. Illidan in game, and they are going up against a Stitches combo on the Russian side with Farlander on Orphea, Stalk on Stitches, Banabir on Hanzo, Toxic on Leoric, and Kolya Martian on Tyrande. So the Stitches hook into the Tyrande stun. It's going to be the name of the game here. For Orphea, as expected, Ancestral Strength taken. Very often, dance baby dance. Very often we are seeing the focus into Dread, getting the quest later on in 7 and just like trying to play around it. We have a couple of variations. I mean, every now and then we have a bit of a Shadow Waltz play, but right now I would still expect the standard build out of Orphea that we've seen at the higher level end of play. Stormbolt's coming out, but so far not connecting. And I just want to see how much Stitches, how much value he can get with this one. I mean, the burst damage comes mainly from Orphea, then later on. Hook and stun right away, but Stalk doesn't connect it. It's going to be easier once that we have the objective on the map, I assume. And this might actually lead us into a situation where the objective is not going to be taken at the beginning of the game for quite some time, because it's difficult for you to channel against the Stitches if you want to grab the objective, because you just stand still, and that's more or less an invitation to throw that hook out. Level 1 for Illidan, the Battered Assault. Now keep in mind, when you play Illidan, you normally just try to play a bit safer at the beginning of the game, because you're scaling very well into the late game. The one thing you hate is stuns. Anything that stuns you is horrible to deal with, or slows on your auto attacks. It's one of the reasons why Arthas was always a very good choice into Illidan, and so was Muradin. two of them have both been taken away, though. So that makes it a really good setup for Timeless. He has still to worry a bit about Tyrande. The Hunter's Mark can screw with him for sure. When there is burst damage against him, that's a problem. But there's very little else on the other side. I mean, there are very few hard stuns that we're seeing. So Illidan is going to be super interesting in this game. I'm really, really curious to see how that mid and late game goes for Illidan, considering the setup that they're running here. I mean, Sweden is risking something for sure on this map. Also, Metamorphosis might be the ult, but to be honest, if you have a pseudo-global on this map, that would be pretty amazing, just simply because it's a huge map. So if you can play around Hunt, that would be great. There's a level 4 coming in on both sides. Consume Vitality into the Ghastly Reach. We see that a bit more often as a build these days. You get a lot of value out of your 13 and 16 talent if you can hit more heroes with a Skeleton Swing. Also, Dread Focus as expected from Orphea, getting Fright here on level 4, and then going to probably head into the quest on 7. But outside of that, pretty much what you would expect. Still the slam for Stitches. Hook, stun, and Gia is able to survive. Oh, that was a very, very close call. Oh! Wow. His pulse is probably at 180 right now. That owl nearly connected with him. I don't think that they would be able to get the kill with that, but he was definitely worried about it happening. So he moves out there. Swamp Grotta up at the top against Toxic. Still, rotation top side. They're trying to get something done, and the objective is up on the map. So yeah, the Stitches team is trying to get the objective. For reasons mentioned earlier. There's the channel attempt. Stormbolt hits. Backhold needs to be careful. The hook doesn't connect. Yeah, but the trust is there, and Illidan is there too. Feel the hatred of 10,000 Hero League games as we have the melee assassin go for Stalk and Stitches falls. Not having any hard CC there, definitely not making this an easy one for Russia. They lose their main tank, and now they're on the back foot, at least for now. But as you can tell, Sweden isn't even interested in the objective. Going for the prison camp here. Why the hell would we do that? That Stitches is going to be back in a second, and he's going to hit that hook. Tyrande is going to get the stun. Why would we expose ourselves like this? We can still push the map, we can take the camps, and we can play around that quite easily. So let's do that instead, and that's exactly what we're seeing. Bot lane Illidan pushes the wave out again, forces Hanzo to rotate down and grab the experience, and now they can start to slowly make an approach towards the objective if they want to, especially with the camp that they just claimed. So now they're making the move. Level 7 talents on both sides. And here we go. They're trying to go for it. Where's Stitches? Sitting right here. Moving in. Kill against Toxic maybe. And yep, it happens. Leoric falls just before the real fight starts. He's going to be back in a few seconds, but they're already working on the second kill against Stalk and trying to take him down here. Backhold is a bit low, needs to move away. In comes Orphea. Oh, the Shadow Halt's barely missing Timeless. He nearly died. Has at least to retreat, and guess who's back? It's your friendly neighborhood ghost. Toxic with a drain, with a swing. And they're recapturing the camp. But it's a big lead for the blue team. Sweden has nearly taken those cavalries. And here comes the channel. Oh, they can kill Henning! And yes, they do. Then that would be a disaster for Sweden. In comes the team, though. They're trying to get the counter kill. Oh, Illidan! The hook! The serrated edge getting some extra damage onto Illidan here. But for now, they're holding. It looks more and more as if the first cavalry wave is going to hit Sweden instead of Russia. They're going to be able to channel that through. Level 8 for both of them. Illidan didn't fall, but the objective is taken. And that objective is a beast. There's a lot of work here. And well, the Horde is going to get their Wolf Riders through. So let's see if they can drop the first fort of the game. I mean, these things are really, really tough to deal with, especially when you have to be careful about your positioning, because there could be a potential hook coming in from Stitches at any point. Would be even worse if Leoric already had Entomb, but we're not on 10 yet. But they're taking that wall, even before we're seeing the Wolf Rider coming in. Wall goes down, second turret about to be dropped. Illidan is dealing with the top lane, Arthur's with the bottom, but this in the middle is not looking good. Not at all. This should be the first structure of the game falling right here. And there's absolutely no defense for it. So 1-4 down and a passive experience lead from here on out for Russia. Top side, also a little bit of pressure. Toxic can move away from this one. Connected also his drain with Illidan. So So no problem here, but they got part of the wall too. And now they're making a move for Arthas. The wall is about to fall, but they can't connect the hook here either. Too many minions in the way. Don't allow Stork to get anything done. But they have the early level 10, and they're going to try and use that now to go for the bottom fort, apparently. Could have maybe tried to make a play for boss. Don't do that, though. Instead, we're seeing them just trying to get the second structure. At least drop the fountain. If you get the fountain, that's already a bit of a win. Illidan is still top side, but so is Leoric. Hook connects, but only with a minion. Get that minion. Take it down. And Illidan, no balls. No balls for Illidan. No hunt. It's disappointing, Timeless. It's disappointing. Metamorphosis taken here instead. In terms of rogue abilities, no, nothing really too crazy. I mean, again, we're having the crushing jaws taken. It is a little bit tricky. I mean, if you hit the entomb and then the jaws come out and you get the hook, the Hanzo arrow in as well, that is scary. Very early Putrid Bile used, by the way, by Stork here. Still trying to see if you can maybe get that hook out. Vision, of course, helps a ton. And if you have a Hanzo in your team, you always have a nice vision on the engage angle, and that helps you to land those hooks. It's 2 kills against 1, but the objective was taken by Russia. So they have the structural lead, and passive experience as the game continues is going to give them the upper hand for sure. Just scouting. All of them are just focusing on maps now. And I mean, it's another map with 2 bosses, so you have to be super careful that you're always scouting out where your opponent could be. And this might be sniffed out, actually. Stitches is there. Yeah, he's gonna have a look. And everybody else is starting to rotate. Stitches himself, though. Is he gonna die? Arrow hits. Doesn't have... Oh, the jaws! The hit! Oh, Metamorphosis barely keeping Timeless alive. And the ancestral healing had to be used too. But here comes Leoric. He gets the skeleton swing in, slows everybody down, and they're on the run. They have to let the boss go, but they might lose a few heroes on the way back too. Look at Shire, 87 HP, but Arthas with the kill. As Illidan comes in, they're getting Hanzo, they're getting Leoric. What a turnaround there. Shire was so low. Like, if anybody would have touched him, he would have died. But they are able to get the kills instead. What a close call there. And to be absolutely... Okay. Swamgrota. He gets away. But just imagine how that fight would have looked if he still had Putrid Bile. And he's using it again here. But Timeless is moving out. They're still taking that fight, even with Hanzo not being there. The mid lane, by the way, gets attacked in the meantime. Middle of the map is getting heavily attacked by this. So this is working in their favor. Backhult has already used the jump. He can't jump out here. He can't jump out, and he's down. Backhult is down. Illidan is in the middle now, dealing with that camp before he takes down the keep. But that last fight would have been an even bigger disaster for Sweden if Stork had not used the Putrid Bile in the middle when he thought that there was an engage happening. And now they're going for the objective again. Illidan barely saving the keep, by the way. Barely. And now they're attempting to take another objective. And they're looking really good here. Because Muradin isn't there yet. He just came back and he's now going to be on the way. But as long as they still hold on to this, this might be another set of cavalry moving through. And if that happens, the keep in the mid lane is pretty much lost. The 13 talents are giving Russia an advantage now too. But they're moving away for now. They're trying to play this a little bit slower, a little bit safer. And they're ahead, heavily ahead in the objective. But they're waiting for cooldowns, especially Putrid Bile is not ready yet. Now let's have a look at the damage output there too. Well, talents first, 13 comes in. Shatter Ring again, armor reduction on 13 for Arthas. Toxic moves away from this one. Healing Static, of course, now with a double clap. Earth and Shield too. Here comes the fight. Putrid Bile being used, and they're going straight in again for Backhult. He jumps out though, but Swamgrota is in deep, and he needs to be careful with this. Gets hooked again. Army has already been used. Here comes the arrow to the backline. Illidan gets focused and uses the Metamorphosis immediately. Going for Fia again, but the Shadow Walls, the Chompy drops so quickly, but so does Leo. And Leo dies first. Illidan keeps himself alive with the continuous auto attacks. The lack of hard CC that we're seeing on Russia's side is a big problem. Again, the objective. That's the attempt here, but a big wave also in the middle that is starting to build up for this one, and Swamgrota is taking care of it. Arthas is moving in. They can't lose the keep right now, and they know that too, but they're getting pushed back again. Only Leo falling, and he's of course going to be back in just a second. Has the Entomb in one. Could maybe use it against Henning here in the back line. Uses the Entomb, blocks out Backhult for a second, but doesn't actually hit anybody with it. 13 on both sides now, and the fight continues. Leo again low, moving out. Has the Wraith Walk now, obviously, but still not relying on the Royal focus. Instead, we're seeing the entire time one scatter shot after another being used by Barnaby here. They're trying to go for the objective again. Mid lane, pressure at the keep. Here comes Hyperion, attempting to zone them out as much as they can. And Russia retreats. They move away from this one. Still the pressure in the middle. Need to be careful. These bad boys are soaking too much damage. And the keep is nearly down, but the fight is happening again. The arrow connects with 2. The Tyrande stun is in as well. The ancestral healing saving them for the time being. Gia on Muradin, on Reyna from the backline, doing so much work. Berkul with Muradin is jumping in and out. Leo dead again. But the pressure in the mid lane, it continues as Illidan is using the Metamorphosis once more, trying to go for the backline here. No more stuns against Illidan. Timeless is low though, and he moves away before the CC hits him. Damn, Timeless barely getting out. Illidan, on the other hand, gets locked down by Tyrande, and that's the kill. Arthur's down. It's a 4 versus 4. Down goes Reyna. They go for the objective again, and already the move straight into the middle. They could drop the keep here. They could go for the keep, and they're already looking at it. The keep is low. Henning is moving away on Reyna, and Russia is going straight for it. They see an opportunity and they take it. It's not only the objective that they claim, they're also moving in the middle to destroy the structure immediately. Half a level ahead as it stands. Now they have even more passive experience coming in, as we can see right here. They have the objective on the map to move to the bot lane, try to drop another structure, and that fort is going to be taken down before the objective even hits it. 16 is so close for them at this point that it looks like they might even be able to fight with a talent advantage over their opponent. Sweden is once again on the back foot. With their back to the wall, they're looking for a fight that they could potentially force here. Top fort is abandoned. It will fall as well, no doubt about that. The structural position of Sweden is a nightmare in this game. Alterac pass looking good, but that's a great setup against Barnabeer, and he's about to die, but the helping hand and the stun from Tyrande saving him. Great Entomb against 2, even isolating Timeless for a second before he jumps back over. Berkul now on the retreat. The keep, the core is under pressure. Muradin is dead. Russia with all the aggression. And they're trying to escape, but look at that core falling in the mid lane. Up to the top, another keep is going to be attacked in a few seconds. Level 16 talents are ready. That means fishing hook for Stitches. Royal focus for Leoric, and they are moving through the bot lane. The defense at the core is happening as Illidan moves straight to the top of the map to try and make sure that the keep does not fall. Down at the bottom, even more pressure. Muradin isn't there. They're looking for the walls. They're trying to take them down. They want to open them up so that Stitches can land the hooks, but they go for boss. Muradin is not there for 5 seconds, and they're not sure if they can take the keep. Instead, they go for boss. Top lane has been saved, and obviously Sweden knows what's up. They know what's coming. Can they stop it? Leo is slowing them down. The boss is about to be taken. Svamgrotta is trying to move in, but it's already too late. The boss has been cleared. Oh my god, the hook against Gia. Ancestral is there. The arrow of Hanzo misses this time, but the boss is in play and makes his way onto the lane as we are seeing the big team fight unfolding right in front of us. With once again Royal Focus on Ominous Wraith being used by Leo. He reduces the damage numbers. Illidan is jumping in deep. Timeless is so low though, and he dies. Timeless dies on Illidan. Toxic might fall too. He doesn't care. They drop Jimmy. They drop Arthur's. 3 down, and they focus on Muradin next. Toxic is moving in, trying to get the skeleton swing for the slow. Gonna be able to get it. Muradin with the avatar, but they're just moving down to the bottom of the map now. Up at the top, a big wave at this point in time for Russia. They're having an easy keep at the bot side, and with 2 keeps eliminated already, the armor on the boss, on the core, is significantly reduced. They're going to try and make the play for game right here. Topside pressure might eliminate another keep too, but with the boss being nearly on full HP, they're making this an easy lead in the best of 5. Russia with the victory on Alterac Pass. They take it, they take the lead, they go into game 4 with an advantage. A 2-1 lead in the best of 5 for the Russian team. Russia in the lead, Shire game number 4, map number 4. And, well, the Russians need 1 more map win. If they take it here, they claim victory. And so far, the team with Hanzo has always won. So now we have first pick, first ban again for Sweden. So they have a chance to go into Hanzo as the first pick. The only reason why Sweden has in 2 of the games not played Hanzo is because we had very smart drafting from Russia and them picking the hero away every single time. So now that we're heading into Shire, we have again Tyrael banned out. Question obviously remains, do they also ban Blaze? Because you can expect that Hanzo is a really solid option for Sweden on the first pick position. But you could ban that out, allow Blaze to be taken, and then play it around that. So there is a chance that this is going to be changed up slightly. Sweden ban out Maiev, and they ban Tracer again. They really don't want to go up against the Tracer play on the Russian side. But there's the Hanzo ban, exactly. Exactly, I like it. Good adjustment. This is exactly what I was just talking about a second. Blaze comes in as a first pick. Otherwise, it would have been Hanzo. So Russia just looks at this and says, okay, what do we want to deal with here? Are we okay playing against Hanzo, or do we rather play against Blaze? They switch it up for the first time. They say, you know what, just give them Blaze, because this is a map where we can play, if they take Blaze, we can play either Urel, or we can play the Haka top lane. They still have a chance to maybe go into Leoric, but it's a pretty sweet setup right there. Leo is taken again, they have Malfurion with his 2, and now they have all the options in terms of the main tank, because not a single tank outside of Tyrael was banned out, and so far Russia hasn't played too much of Tyrael. Cool setup. But Sweden, what's the reaction? Are we going to see the support picked early on again by Henning? Is he going to go into Rhaegar again for the camp clear here? No, they actually let it go for now. Garrosh and Jaina are picked instead, so Jet Propulsion into Jaina damage. Also, Garrosh maybe even throwing into the Jet Propulsion is another setup that they have. I really like the series. It's a cool series, because if you watch the group stage, if you watch the previous games, the adjustments that are being made in draft are just so cool to see. And it's tiny adjustments, I understand, but they matter, and they matter a lot. And it is pretty sweet to see how the teams are just reacting to what's being played before, how they experience. I mean, look at this. Junkrat banned out now too. They know that Hanzo Junkrat are just staples in the Swedish draft, and especially with the displacement that already exists around Garrosh, they're just making sure that Gia doesn't get his hero. And when Jaina is on the side of Sweden, most of the time it was actually Swamp Grotta playing it. Even Sweden now, banning out a Nuburak, making sure that with Malfurion there's no chance for that immediate engage through Stalk and the Cocoon forcing a fight. So a solid setup from both teams here. And I'm really liking this from the draft perspective. So with that said, Russia have quite a few options. I don't think we're going to get a Stitches composition this time. You still have really good options at the front line. You could go into Diablo again if you wanted to. He's still open. Li Ming and Genji. Ooh, double reset. Double reset coming out now. Denying Genji to Sweden. And how is Sweden going to play this now? We've seen them with, I think they played in the past in a couple of games that they had. They played Phoenix. Jimmy is still up. They could go Jimmy. Jimmy would actually be a solid option for them as well. If Diablo is played, you can try and just like force him back again. But yeah. Let's check that out. We have Phoenix. Phoenix and Tyrande. Phoenix and Tyrande. Henning going for Tyrande here. Phoenix is in as well. It's a cool setup. Great draft. Great game so far. And yep, Russia with a very solid powerhouse here. Are they going to go for Diablo? Could go Johanna, could go Muradin. Both would be good here. One offering more wave clear, the other one being able to jump in and hit the Storm Bolt, but there's the wave clear. Johanna taken, Stalk on Jojo. We are going into potentially the last game in this series. Russia or Sweden? Who takes game number 4? Game number 4, and potentially the last game in the series. Russia is in the lead. They have taken a 2-1. And Sweden now starting on the left side with Henning on Tyrande, Svampgrotta on Jaina, Bakul on Garrosh, G on Phoenix, and Timeless on Blaze. Farlander for the Russian team on Li Ming towards the right side. We have Toxic on Leoric, once again, doesn't change much there. Stalk on Johanna, Banabir on Genji, and Kolya Martian on Malfurion. Great game so far in the series. I'm a huge fan of the drafting patterns that we have seen now from both teams. And we have again Consume Vitality taken on level 1 for Leoric. The question here just remains, what is going to be the choice on level 4? You could go into the greater, into the Ghastly Reach if you wanted to focus on the team fights a lot, but if you're trying to get the wave clear on 2 lanes, then normally Neil Peasants is what you have to go for first. Good engage already into the back line here. Timeless missing the jet propulsion this time. Toxic barely moving out, and everybody is just running into the middle. It's a full-on brawl as they are at each other's throat, but no one dies. We have a couple of them dropping. Timeless, on the other hand, gets a bit of a beatdown here in the middle. Banabia is also still around on Genji, so you have to be a bit careful. But yeah, all of them just retreating. No one going for a kill just yet. Well, scratch that, because Malfurion might fall, and yes, indeed he does. Tyrande gets the last auto attack in, and Malfurion, the old geezer, is the first one to die. Good kill by them. Aggression against Phoenix. Barnaby has to be careful that he doesn't go too deep, especially against Blaze. A jet propulsion could be the end of him if he misplays here. Stork is still sitting in the mid lane for experience, and, well, Sweden's tournament life is on the line. They need to win this. They need to win 2 in a row now if they want to make it to the grand final to face off against France. And that's the big question. A French team, of course, having a look at this game now as well. They want to know who they're up against and what they have to prepare for. Coach Mane probably watching as we speak. And topside, the first try now spawning. And with that, we're having Leo taking the lead over here. Down to the bottom of the map. A siege giant camp taken by both teams. So, again, neutral lane for now. But, yeah, Leo takes the top, and Sweden takes the bottom. A bit of pressure here between Phoenix and Genji the entire time. The difference being that Gia, of course, has shields that he can rely upon. Just has to move back every single time he gets a bit of damage pushed onto him, and then he's going to recover easily. Whereas Genji has to actually go to the core for this one. So, we're having them starting to go for that. Bakul is there, heading as well. Swamp Grotta at the bot lane, 3 against 2. Genji starting to go in for it. Let's see. Bakul is there. And, I mean, I'm still waiting for any kind of combo setup here with Bakul trying to throw someone into the stun. Whenever he gets close enough for that, that's what's going to happen. They're still dancing around it. I mean, if you play with Johanna against Garrosh, it helps you too. Good move here for the stacking process from Bakul. But the thing that you can really start and pull off is Iron Skin is just such a great tool. It's one of the reasons why when you're being thrown as Johanna, you can always move back once again because you just have Iron Skin to pop off, but you can even prevent Garrosh from throwing you in the first place by using it. Double Shrine now under the control of the red team. They're trying to go in for it, but at the bottom of the map, yep, there we go, Swamp Grotta is reclaiming the bottom of the map, and therefore make sure that no Dragonite can be taken yet. Owls continuously just thrown across the map to see where someone is hiding, and here comes the engage. Good stun, and yeah, Malf has no chance there. He just doesn't have the mobility needed to really get out of that situation. First of all, he already got stunned by Henning. That was a great move from Tyrande in the first place, but then Bakul just shows no mercy, throws them in, and yeah, Jaina just says thank you. That's a 2-0 kill lead now for Sweden. Doing well with it. The pressure at the bottom of the map still happening, so it's still pretty much one lane taken or one shrine taken by Sweden, the other one by Russia. So not really too much pressure yet. Ghastly Reach, by the way, has now taken level 4 again, so going to the same build here helps a lot later on with the Royal Focus and the Wraith Walk. Blaze is a bit low, and now that Stork is rotating in too, that might be the end of him. A bit of body blocking is all that they need, and Timeless is gonna fall here. Is not making... Okay, that was unfortunate. That was a little bit of a weird move, and Stork actually might now die too, because the rotation of Sweden is locking him into. So, I mean, the idea of Genji was, I make the Swift Strike happen, I get the kill, I get the reset, and can Swift Strike out immediately. The problem was that by the time he Swift Strikes in, Blaze is already dead, so he only hits empty space and dead air, and that's why he didn't get the cooldown and couldn't really jump out again, because he already used his trade a bit earlier. The annoying thing about this is he didn't even have to use the Swift Strike in the first place, and then with him dying they also didn't have Genji to help them in that rotational battle, because it would have been a 3 versus 3 instead. So now they're losing all those heroes and they get very little as a return. Blaze is, when all said is done, probably was pretty happy with that setup, so yeah. I mean, it happens. It happens, but it makes you look quite silly, even though it's maybe half a second that was missing there. So yeah, can't really blame him too much for that. But I don't think it was needed for him to even Swift Strike in. They wanted to play it safe. Better safe than sorry, but yeah, at the end, Banabia doesn't get the kill. So as it stands, 4 kills against 1, slight lead for Sweden in experience. I mean, still a back and forth, but now with level 7 talents, obviously Ming is having a lot of additional pressure with the Calamity that she can use here. Bottom of the map, that's where having Stalk still trying to see if maybe moves out too much of it so that he can condemn them in. It is a setup where you go up against Tyrande and Jaina, and both of them are really vulnerable to a rotation because they don't have any kind of mobility. So if you are able to just flank in with Johanna and get the punish and the condemn through, that's pretty much a kill secured because you have Li Ming and well, Fury behind you. So Svamgrota and Henning are playing this actually really smart because they're playing it quite defensive, but I mean they're oh, that's a good one. Oh, Timeless, yeah, uses the bunker, but again Phoenix with a setup and doesn't get the kill. Barnabier doesn't get it either. Stalk has to retreat now too. That was a really nice exchange that we saw between the two teams here. That was actually pretty solid. No kills, but a cool setup. But yeah, for the reasons mentioned, I really like the way that Svamgrota and Henning are playing the bot lane now, because they are just, they play as aggressive as they can, and they're always trying to control the shrine here, but at the same time, they're always ready for rotation and try and keep themselves as far back as they possibly can while still maintaining shrine control. And through that, we have now 2 shrines taken. Here comes the engage again in the mid lane as they're trying to go for the Dragon Knight, but top lane is channeled, and Leori gets it. So we're 6.5, 7 minutes in, and we still don't have a Dragon Knight in the game. A lot of fights here, but haven't really seen a lot of kills outside of the top debacle that we had for Russia. But with level 10 abilities, as you've already seen in play, Water Elemental has been taken over the Ring of Frost, so going for the instant burst. Battle at the bot lane now, as we're seeing Johanna starting for the rotation too, is looking to engage here. But as everybody from Sweden is starting to move a little bit farther towards the towers, she can't really do anything there either. So still moving into the mid lane to push the lane back and force someone to make the rotation. And that's Gia from the mid lane, from the top lane. Goes middle, so that they're not losing XP there. 3 versus 3 down at the bottom of the map. And once again, the attempt to throw someone in. And in this case, it is Genji. Water Element comes down to slow him down. But there's the kill attempt by Stalk as he starts to move in from the side. Doesn't commit to the Blessed Shield yet. 4 versus 4. Could still try and make the play here. And in comes the combo. They go for Phoenix and the throw saves him barely. Blessed Shield came in. Gia survives because Berghold is able with Garrosh to bring him back to safety. Stun attempt against Genji. And a Swift Strike cooldown is ready. Everybody's rotating in right now. Leo is missing, but outside of that, everybody is here for the party. And it's Farlander that dies first. Li Ming dropped by Jaina. Mage against mage action that we see here. 5 kills against 1 now. 12 versus 12 in levels. Leoric making the rotation between mid and top continuously. Getting the hits in here. But yeah, this is just back and forth. And topside pressure is going to be there soon, but so far it's only Phoenix who's trying to make the play, and of course he has to get experience too. But instead of going for the Dragon Knight, we have the camp taken. They're going to the bottom of the map. They have a bit more leeway now, and they use that to take the Bruiser camp, and that Bruiser camp should help them to open up that wall. Once you take that fountain out, it's pretty much a dream right there, because we had a pretty nice back and forth between the bottom 2 teams. But once you take the fountain away, you shift that momentum heavily in your favor. And camps are taken on both sides now, but we're actually seeing not only the Bruiser camp taken at the top right, but we're also having bottom right now with the Siege Giant camp that was claimed. And that is going to help with the defense quite easily, so they might be able to break through the wall, but they shouldn't get much more than that. Farlander is trying to home in on that Spell Aura in the back and eliminate that as quickly as he can. Top lane is getting heavily pushed against Phoenix, so he's going to have to take care of that. Leo is attempting to move in. 13 talents are ready for both sides. There's even more kill potential now, especially when we're talking about Leo now, who has the damage reduction, so they can go a bit more aggressively into this. Icy Veins on Jaina. And well, right now the Siege Giants have to be pushed down by someone. There comes Svamgrota, uses that right away, and with Berghold starting to push this in, you can't really go too deep. But once again, 2 of the shrines under the control of the red team. The Russians are trying to go for it. The top lane is being channeled, bot lane is being channeled too. Phoenix is actually giving up on some of the experience here. Because of the channel, he lost out on some of the minions, and Leoric is immediately back and reclaims it. We're having also Johanna waiting in the middle, making sure that no one from the Swedish team can channel this. But it's actually, I mean, we have seen a couple of kills, but both of them are so hesitant. Look at this kill, though. Genji sniffed out in the middle, the jet propulsion straight into the bush, hits him, bam, in comes the taunt, and he has no chance, is eliminated. We have really good execution on both sides. Nice move away at you. This is such a cautious game that both of them are playing, and even though we're seeing Sweden get kill after kill after kill, they're not all that far ahead. They are not even half level ahead at this point. And top side now, the pressure against Toxic. He's trying to survive here. In comes Johanna. Stalk. Ah, the commitment to the ult. It's not dropping Toxic though. Cooldown burned, and Leo survives. Yeah, Thrall might be able to get the kill in against Stalk though. Yep, that Entomb is a bit late, trying to trap him here. And again, nobody's dying. A lot of these fights are just dead even. Bot side too. I mean, the continuous pressure against Farlander's Li Ming, but he's able to move out of most of these situations. Now, on the other hand, the Dragon Knight is all of a sudden threatened. There is nothing that seems to be working in favor of Russia here. Nope, Barnaby doesn't even get the interrupt, and that's the first Dragon Knight of the game. Sweden has it. They have the Dragon Knight, and they have a talent lead at the same time. That is great. That allows them now to push basically everywhere they want. Anywhere. They go for the bot lane and the mid lane. Already having the Dragon Knight eliminate the wall, trying to burn down all of the minions. Probably going to wait for his own wave before he pushes even further. And tries to draw the attention towards the top of the map now, because the rest of his team is busy bot lane, destroying the fountain, destroying also, or putting some pressure onto the fort itself. And top side, we're having Timeless now, shifting his attention mid lane. Bottom battle is still ongoing, and down goes Jaina. Blessed Shield even missing because she was dead already. It was a bit of an overkill, but there's no kill like overkill. Could have maybe even gotten a second one if they played that differently, but as it stands, they get the kill, they get the 16 as a result. And so far, the Dragon Knight hasn't really gotten too much. I mean, that was the first DK, but they're even trying to make the play for Bakul now. And here comes Genji. Bunker comes out, tries to help him out. Ah, do we have a setup? They basically have nothing left here in terms of heroics. They only have Tranquility. If they still had the Blessed Shield or something, they might be able to get another kill. But experience is pretty close. And bot lane has taken damage, but the fort still stands, so they can't get too much. Even making a play for the Siege Giants now with 3 heroes here. Now that might be a bit optimistic, but they're still trying to make it work. Bakul moves in, they go for Genji, and he jumps out. But the camp was claimed. Camp was stolen away. And here comes Timeless. He looks for the jet propulsion. Isn't close enough yet. Stalk again has to throw out the Blessed Shield to save himself and the rest of the team. And they're able to get out of this. They're even trying to turn it around. They're going straight in. And they're looking for the slow through Toxic. He goes for Tyrande with the Entomb, but there's no follow-up damage yet. Jaina even coming in from the side for damage, but the slow is there. Not only against her. Look at the rest of the team. Everybody is so low, and Jaina... You gotta be kidding me. Li Ming dies to the salvo, and Jaina actually walks away with 40 HP. Unbelievable. Sweden in this game is having luck and effort on their side. They get the 7th kill. They're half a level ahead now and go straight for the camp. It must be horribly frustrating for Russia here. They had so many moments in this game where they were either unlucky or just one auto attack away of dropping a hero. I mean, first of all, Genji's move up at the top, of course, that not only causes him to die, but also allows a 2 versus 3 battle against Johanna shortly after. And then several attempts of kills at the bot lane, where Li Ming barely falls. I mean, let's take a look at Li Ming here. Li Ming has died 2 times now. The only one that hasn't died is Leoric, at least on the side of Russia. On the side of Sweden, it's Tyrande, Garrosh, and Phoenix. But now they're taking more camps on the map again. And level 20 is, of course, I mean, the goal at this point for Sweden. I mean, you have to think about this for a moment. We're 14 minutes in, 15 minutes basically. And until now, we haven't seen a structure for. A main structure, obviously. I think this fort at the bot lane is the first one that is finally going to be destroyed here. And it took 15 minutes to make that work. 16 talents are ready for both, and that gives us the numbing blast. So a bit more CC even on their end. And well, they are trying to go for Bakul here. Again, fort is about to go down, but here's the team fight. Are they going to get it? Oh, Leo, Leo's going to fall here. Yeah, Leo is down. And no counter kill. Bunker is there. They dodge a lot of the damage, and now Sweden is going to try and follow it up with the 2nd kill. They're going in, the jet propulsion hits Dog, and Johanna is dead. Sweden is slowly getting that momentum, and it's starting to snowball a bit. Time and time again, they have taken a small kill, a small cam, a little bit of damage here, a little bit of damage there, and it's finally coming to a breaking point where they are starting to take a bigger lead. They are basically a level ahead at this point. They should be able to defend this at the top. It's going to take damage, but they already have Phoenix on the way. And they are starting to look a lot stronger now in this game, especially since level 20 is so close for them. Half a level. Phoenix, by the way, not even defending the fort, but instead trying to give them the chance to go for a second Dragon Knight. Now that's a 5 versus 4 on the map. So the fort is actually likely to fall. It's going to get some experience here, but the battle in the mid lane. Oh, the taunt after the jet propulsion. Genji barely gets away as the blizzard comes down. But, yep, bot lane has been recaptured by Leoric. And the fort went down at the top lane. But the level 20 talent is still super close for them. So the play for the Dragon Knight doesn't quite work out. They sacrifice the top fort for it, but they have level 20. And that gives them a fortified bunker. We have Minder Mule now for Jaina. And yeah, it's great talents for them. And they're recapturing the top too. Johanna is there though. And no kill. Again, Russia is fighting back as much as they can, and they are going to try and dodge as many of the fights for the next level as they possibly can. I mean, you can already see that Leoric is coming down to the bot lane again, trying to grab this one, making sure that there's just no DK until they themselves hit 20, and they're trying to capture the experience. They are on every lane right now. They're trying to get the bot lane, they're trying to get the top lane experience. Stork is just sitting there and is like, yeah, if they're here, if they're trying to catch me, they need to make sure they move away. But they're actually ballsy enough to even come in from behind. Yeah, and he's probably gonna fall. Gets the blessed shield out, buys himself some time, dodges the jet propulsion. There's only so much you can do. There is only so much you can do in that situation. He dies, has a 0 chance of getting away. And to be honest, you can't even fault him for this one. They came in with 5 men to take him down. And that's another 40 seconds, 50 seconds that Russia has to bridge. But they have level 20 talents. And that gives them the Buried Alive. And that is a fantastic tool for these fights. The Buried Alive, the cooldown reduction possibly on Genji. Is someone rotating top? Are they going into the middle? It's going to be close. I mean, mid lane can be delayed slightly, but Blaze is making a topside rotation to stop them from getting the shrine there. Yeah, it's a 2-for-1 at the top. But how long can they delay it? Probably not long enough. Berghult is already about to grab it. Gets barely interrupted, but it doesn't matter anymore. Blaze might die, though. He might actually die. The Dragon Knight is taken, but I think it comes at the cost of Blaze. And yeah, Blaze is going to die. Blaze is going to die for sure. First one down. Dragon Knight is now making his way into the mid lane. But this game is not over yet. I mean, 20 versus 20. There's not even a keep down in this game. And now the Dragon Knight is just going for another fort. This game is all over the place. This entire series has been so close. And even with 10 kills against 3, they haven't won it yet. Not by a long shot. With Blaze gone, look how quickly they burn the Dragon Knight down. We're 19 minutes into the game, and now with level 20 talents, all of a sudden things are completely turned on their head again. If you hit a Buried Alive here, at any point against that setup, then Sweden might still lose this. Johanna hasn't even taken her 20 yet. It's still waiting to see if they maybe goes for something else. And ooh, Shire is dead! Shire is dead. They force the fight, and oh god, they go for even more. They're trying to get Tyrande here too. Look at Leo. Leo tries to go in, but they focus on Garrosh instead. The slow is there. He gets a couple of stuns through Garrosh. They can't drop him just now. But damn, it's a staggered death against Phoenix just as Blaze comes back. And now Russia rotates again, trying to see if they can maybe get a few of these camps on the map. Maybe the bot camp, maybe break through some of these structures. And the only structure that has been taken in the game, look at this, the mid lane is still there. The only structure is the bottom one. We are 20 minutes into the game. Sweden has 10 kills against 4. And they were still not able to take more than a bloody fort at the bottom of the map. And Russia is back in this. If Russia wins Shire, they are in the grand final. And it's just camps that are being taken. It's again a 5 versus 4. Phoenix isn't here yet. They don't have Phoenix. And here comes the pressure play. You have 2 camps pushing bot side. And Leo is already waiting for the entomb. Leo is sitting there, is like, yeah, you give me a chance and I'm going to bury you alive, quite literally. And once he hits that, the damage will be there. And Sweden realizes, and they're saying like, okay, screw the fort. Just forget it. If we lose another hero, it's lights out for us. We're going to lose the keep too. So let's just make sure that we're going to be ready. And look at Johanna, by the way. No indestructible for her. Instead, we're having blinded by the light. So she goes for her Storm Shield variation and plays that. And, well, we have a bit of a pause here, but it is an insane game. Sweden all of a sudden has to worry about this. The entire time they were looking really strong, but now they are in a really awkward position because it's dead even pretty much. It is dead even. I mean, with the structure taken out of the bot lane, that's pretty much it. At the top side, there's a camp pushing, so it might drop the fort here. Well, as I say, I realize that the top fort has also been taken down. Yeah, of course. I mean, there's even catapult in. So the question is, how far does this even get? But the entire situation at the bottom of the map is so completely different. If you have buried alive on Leoric, then all of a sudden you change the game. You just need the burst damage behind it. And they don't have a Jaina to run this, but if Li Ming executes a good combo, and Farlander has been doing quite well with that. I mean, look at him. 61,000 damage? That is really solid. For Li Ming to have this much compared to everyone else in the game right now, that is pretty strong. So once they get that combo in, it's going to be super tough. You get the Li Ming combo up, you are making sure that Genji is going to hit the attack, so even Garrosh, if he moves out, is going to be in trouble. The one thing that you have to be careful of is, of course, Timeless with his fortified bunker. Because if you hit the Entomb anywhere here, and then all of a sudden we're having right next to it maybe like a bunker being placed at any point, it just means that you can leave the Entomb within a second. So if that happens, then you're just screwed. But I mean, even on the experience side, the passive XP is pretty much the same because it was such a back and forth. It's really the hero advantage that we had mostly because of those kills. But with that set aside, after level 20, very little of that matters, and now it's just a matter of opportunity. When does one hero step too far out? When does Toxic land the Buried Life? Is the opponent able to dodge it? When turret's down, Berkult is looking for the swap, and there's Buried Alive against 2. It's perfect. It's absolutely perfect. Jaina is down. It doesn't get much better than that. Even with a fortified bunker being dropped by Timeless, Jaina is down. And now we have the shrines up. It's honestly crazy. The entire game, Russia was losing heroes. And now they're able to make these snap kills. To be honest with you, it could have been the end of Phoenix 2. Now they're going for the first Dragonite in the game for the Russian team. Up to the top. We have the situation right here. Blaze is down at the bottom of the map, but well, you can't be going for this just yet. And Leoric rotates. Here comes Li Ming again, creates some space. Leoric could actually just take it, and he does. He moves in, grabs the Dragonite right now, and they can now go for the first keep. They're going to go bot lane. You know it already. I mean, we're 22 minutes into the game. If they get a kill with this, if they didn't have Leoric in that Dragonite and could land another Buried Alive, they might even be able to end here. But just getting the keep alone would already be a huge victory. If you can get a kill of this, you're going core. Sweden is so close of being dropped from the tournament. Good ice block, but they're trying to burn it down. And actually, if they continue like that, damn, Sweden is burning that thing to a crisp. But the Dragonite is still super powerful, and this time there is no ice block. They go and the keep is gone. The keep's gone, but the game isn't over yet. The game isn't over yet. No. The Dragonite is still there, but can only get a couple of Dragon Breaths through, and that's it. They might be able to drop the fort in the middle. But that's about it. Yeah. Fort in the middle is also going to fall. Sweden is behind now in the game. But they're not out of yet. One team fight is all that they need. If they win a team fight and get an objective, they can go through bot lane and end the game. But of course, now they are in trouble. Bottom lane is going to be an issue, and unbelievable. Mother Russia is going full on fire here in the late game. And the damage output on Li Ming is just not stopping. 72,000 by now. Farlander getting those combos through. 22 in levels, 23 minutes in. What a game. And it could be the last one in the series. They open the wall. They're breaking the wall completely. 13 stacks, by the way, on Malfurion's level 4. 18 for Tyrande on the 4. With the stuns. Oh my god, so close. Great setup, but that's the cue for Sweden. And Sweden goes in, and do they get Farlander? He's still alive! And he gets away! He actually gets away! They're trying to go for Stork, and they might be able to at least get Johanna. And yes, Stork falls. But wow! The save on Li Ming. But what an insane setup here. Li Ming barely actually be close to taking Battle down. But that was such a cool play from Russia. It failed, but it was such a sweet play. They go in and they drop the repulsion onto Blaze, and then Leo immediately drops the Buried Alive. That was an awesome play. It did not work out, but it was clutch. It was so clutch. He barely dodged it. A little bit more and they would have the connect on Blaze. And if that happens, he's dead. That was insanely clutch, but the reaction of Sweden was also absolutely amazing. The second it fails, they immediately say, nah, go, 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 go. This is the moment. They just burned 2 cooldowns. Buried Alive is on cooldown. Go for it, right away. But it was a cool thought from Russia for sure. It was a good play from them. And Johanna's going to be back in 6. And look at the top lane, by the way. This, with the catapult, this means keep. This means keep. If no one moves back, this is keep. And Johanna is back. Sweden doesn't get the kill down here. And they're losing the keep topside. And here comes the chase. Here comes the chase. He has Buried Alive again. He has it. If he gets it here, if he gets the connect, that's all that he needs. Oh, Genji! X strikes out. And here's the Buried Alive, making sure that there's no flip. Keep topside is nearly gone, by the way. Leo moves away. Johanna's being attacked, still has the iron skin, and they're moving out of it. Sweden and Russia with an insane series, but now the top keep is also gone, and they need to be careful about the core because that's a double catapult moving in. Sweden is in such a weird spot. 30 seconds until we're going to see Leoric's Buried Alive back in. Sweden was looking for the kill the entire time. They were hoping that they could simply turn it around. When Russia was following, they were hoping for a turnaround. And they know they have to fight now. They are going for a Hail Mary. They know they have to fight. They know it has to be now or never. They know that they're going to lose this in the long run if they don't find kills. And here comes the early Malfurion ult, Tranquility, because he knows he needs to keep everybody alive right now. This is what matters. Already Swamp Grotta is zoned out in the back. Toxic is low, hits the Buried Alive, but he himself falls. It's a small cooldown. It's a small cooldown though. He's going to be back soon, and the core is already taking damage. Only a bit though. And the catapult will be depushed soon. Should be depushed, but still 85% on the core. And the next waves are moving in. And look in the mid lane. It doesn't look any better. Sweden is on their last leg. They're looking for the kills, and all that Russia has to do is buy time. Buy time for Leo. Buy time for the next objective, and do not lose your cool. And again, another keep has fallen. Every single structure is eliminated. And now the catapults are going to push core. Li Ming, on the other hand, falls. They get Li Ming. They get... Oh, the jet propulsion! Is that it? Is that it? They go for it. Malfurion is down. 2 are dead. They throw in Blaze, another jet propulsion, another stun, and that's Johanna dead. Oh my god. Holy shit. Holy shit. They have to core. They have to core now. There's catapults. 2 on the core on the other hand. The core is falling. They need to send someone back. Genji is going to try for the backdoor. Genji is trying for the backdoor. Leoric is trying to stop them. Leoric is stopping them. Leoric is stopping them from being back. They're losing. Sweden is going to lose this. The catapults are on the core. Genji is there. Leoric is dead. Everybody is dead and dying. But this is game. Russia, they go for it. The X strike. Genji. Genji. No way. No fucking way! 6% on the core, and Sweden holds for 1 more second. Leo is trying to deny them the B back, but he dies and they retreat barely in time. What is happening in this game? And they want the Dragonite now. The Dragonite, guys, we're 28 minutes into this. 28 minutes! The Dragonite can end, but they're going to try and go for the backdoor. Oh! The DK is going to go try and go bot lane. They're going to try and backdoor. They have to try and backdoor. Blaze. Okay, I mean, Blaze can't go back. Blaze has to deal with the top lane. Phoenix is there too. Are they going to defend? They bait him in deep. They bait the Dragonite in deep. And the Dragonite is already falling. They might get the key, but I don't think they're going to get more than that. I don't think they can end. They're going to try. They're going to try. They need to. They have to. They're trying. But look at the decay. It's already about to be gone. The DK does so much damage right now, but it's nearly gone. And here's the Entomb. Jaina's in trouble. The bunker's on the ground. The Dragonite is burning the core down. You can't. Are you shitting me? Are you shitting me? They actually take it. Sweden wins the game. What the fuck is happening here? Sweden forces game number 5. Sweden versus Russia, and holy cow, that last game. Basically, Sweden put it all on one card. They said, we can't play the late game, we're losing the keep top side, we have lost bot side, we're losing middle, we have to full on go for the core. And then that action happens with Genji trying to take it down. It's 6 points, and somehow Sweden gets the Dragonite and wins the game. They barely do, but they do, and unbelievable. And immediately Russia goes into this and says, okay, we tried banning Hansa the last time. Screw that. We're banning Blaze again. Those jet propulsions, not going to be dealing with those. Now, keep in mind, the big and important thing when we're looking at this last map is that this time Russia again has first pick, first ban. And we all know what that means. You ban out Turiel, you ban out Hanzo, you ban out Blaze, and you first pick Hanzo. That's what they're going to do. And Sweden knows that as well, and they have to play around this. And so far, oh, okay, there's the Hanzo ban. So this time they're risking this a little bit more, keeping Tracer open. Tracer was banned continuously by them, and they're banning out Hanzo this time and leaving Tracer up for grabs. And now the big question is, how is Russia going to react to this? Are we going to see Tracer as a first pick? Is she going to be picked at all? Is Sweden considering picking her up for themselves if they get an opportunity here? That's the big question to answer right now. And there's an Uberak. No Tracer. Tracer has been banned over and over again by Sweden. And Russia says, we don't care. At least not yet. And Uberak is in play. And now Sweden has to show us what they got. They focused on tanks at the front line so far in the early picks, and most of the time they went straight for the support. But they delayed it occasionally. Henning great on his Rhaegar and Tyrande. There's Genji and Muradin, the opening. Battled with his hero. Can still pick Tyrande later if she's not being grabbed now by Russia. Russia played a lot with Malfurion and an Uberak, but no matter what they pick, they can ban the other one out if they want to. So there's Malfurion and there's Tracer. Tracer is in Malfurion as well, and they have an Uberak. Whew. It's getting spicy in here. Bans come in. This is another map where we oftentimes see Abathur, for example, banned out. Dehaka is another global that you can use here. What's Sweden banning? What are they afraid of right now? What are they worried about? What's the hero where Sweden says, it's Abathur. Abathur with Tracer. Don't want to deal with that. Offlane though. Is it going to be Leoric again? And there's the ban against Reyna. Try and get rid of the auto attacks. Keep Tracer alive a little bit longer. Make her life easier. What a series. The winner of this map, the winner of Sky Temple, goes to the grand final and goes up against France. And for now, Sweden. What are the picks? Are they playing Junkrat again? Shire played Junkrat whenever he could. There's Rhaegar for Henning. And Greymane. Greymane played. Svamgroda probably on Greymane. Genji played by Shire. Russia. They need an offlaner. They could go for Leoric again if they wanted to. And so far, Toxic has played Leoric every single time he had the chance to. But there's also a Dehaka to be considered. It's the global. If you want to play the global strategy, that's your pick right there. And we don't have a global yet for Sweden. There's Sophia and Arthur's. Sweden. Dehaka? There's a lot that they have. I mean, there's so much that you can do right now. It really depends on how you want to play the game. Do you want to force fights? Do you try and play the global strategy? Do you try to out-rotate your opponent? And Sweden goes for the last pick into URL. Good choice. Good choice. Denying the global for now, but still quick rotations if you go into Divine Steed, even the Hobbity Hop, who works for them. And guys, I don't know what to say. The series is crazy. The last game was insane. We're going to Sky Temple. It is going to be the last map in this series. The winner takes it all. The winner goes up against France in the grand final of the tournament. Game on, everybody! Sweden versus Russia. The final map is a Sky Temple. And to the left, after an insane victory on Dragonshire, we have Henning on Rhaegar for Sweden, Svamkorotta on Greymane, Berghult on Myrden, Gia on Genji, and Timeless on Urel. On the right side of the map, the Russian team. Probably pretty angry right now, with Farlander on Orphea, Stalk on Anubarak, Barnaby on Tracer, Toxic on Arthas, and Kolya Martian on Malfurion. Let's not kid ourselves here. Russia walked away with a draft that they probably think is pretty much one of the best drafts that they could probably have. I mean, let's think about this for a second. This is literally everything that they want. What's one of the main reasons why they picked Hanzo the entire time? Obviously because the hero is great, but also because Sweden is fantastic with Hanzo. So this time they're getting all the picks that they usually want to play. They get their Tracer, they get their Anubarak Malfurion combo, they have an Arthas as well, and it is it is a miss on the burrow stun that we're starting the game with. No, but back to it for real. Like, this is a great setup for Russia, no doubt about it. But if Sweden has proven anything in this series and in the last game, is that they have a lot of heart, they are good under pressure, and they can make insanely difficult decisions. Staying on the bot lane in the last game, never even defending the top or the mid keep, and just saying, this is our one shot, this is the one thing we have to do, in the long run we lose. That was such a difficult call to make, and they made it. And it worked out for them too. And now they have to try and push, like, they have to try and pull through here. But both of them are, of course, going to be super eager. Toxic is safe at the bot lane right now. Both of them going for the early camps. I mean, at this point, we're having, again, the Ancestral Strength taken for Orphea. So he's going to play around the slows and everything. Top camp also getting pushed in now. Farlander is going to hold the lane for now. Whereas we're seeing Arthas at the bottom of the map. He's also going to be the one that's going to try and control Greymane as well as he can throughout the entire fights that will happen on this map for sure. There's no global. It's straight up team fights that we're going to see here. Maybe a bit of rotation with Urel, for example. She could go into Divine Steed and get the wave clear on 2 lanes. But this is literally just, okay, who has the better nerves? Who is just sitting there and knows and says, okay, let's play this as well as we can. Dread being focused again with a Fright on level 4. We're having at the same time now the Parting Gift from Tracer, and Barnaby is dancing around it here the entire time. Dancing in, dancing out, looking for the damage, looking to charge his ult, and has to be careful here because the focus is on him too. There is definitely damage from Greymane that Tracer has to be very, very afraid of. So Barnaby gets the heals from Malf. That's of course another great combo. If you're playing Tracer, you want to have a Malfurion in your team if you can. Bottom lane pressure, where especially Arthas is of course now going to try and also stack his level 4 quest against Myrden as much as he can. Berghult is happy to oblige, at least for the time being. 2 temples appearing on the map. And one of the things that we have to consider as well, late game. It's oftentimes coming down to a boss call on this map. I mean, if you're behind, you're trying to YOLO it. If you're ahead, you're trying to take it as an advantage and force a fight around it. And in this case, we have a couple of really, really sick tools, especially for Russia, I'd say, because they have the Jaws on Orphea. That's already a huge, or can be a huge problem. If you clutch that out, and you also get a good cocoon off, that's a lot of potential for you to make the play here. But for now, the play is being made by Sweden, since they're taking both of the temples, at least initially. Getting a few extra shots in, hashtag worth it. Attempt in the middle here. Stun. Howling Blast. There it is. Urel goes down. That's the first kill. And Russia takes the first blood in the game. They're also claiming now the remaining shots on the mid-temple. Have a bit of momentum going for themselves. And amongst those things is also a Siege Giant camp at the bottom of the map that is already applying pressure towards those walls. And as we all know, if you are going to try and get ahead on Sky Temple, you have to take structures down without the objective. Sky Temple is one of the few maps where the objective attacks structures directly. So the more structures, forts, walls, towers you take down by just attacking them without the objective's help, the better those objectives are for you later on in the game, the faster you're going to get the pressure onto the keeps. And the next objective is going to spawn bot side. And that's where we're going to see that rotation again towards the bottom of the map. Already the defense right there. We're seeing still the rotation with Barnaby moving top. We have, by the way, no Divine Steed taken for Timeless. Instead, he went for the normal build applying now with the Enraging Wrath the cooldown reduction here, so applying the armor even more. Aegis of Light, Holy Avenger, and Cleanse obviously for Rhaegar, who's gonna definitely need that. I mean, against this setup, you need Cleanse. There's so many CCs that they can stack, and they're trying it already. They're going against Berkhold, there's the Cleanse right there. And that was definitely needed. Sweden is under pressure. They dealt with it well in Game 4. But now they're again getting pressured by the constant aggression that we see from the Russian team here. And Russia is looking for those kills. And it's difficult to also draft against them here. I mean, it's been tried now several times, but no matter what you ban out, Stork always gets a hero with which he can apply pressure. And Nuburak seems to be his favorite, but they had so many different heroes now in this entire series that it's tough to really deal with them. 8 versus 8 in experience, and this is the last one. This is the last game for now. Up to the top. We're having once again Swampgrota, Timeless, Vision important, and both of them are trying to make the play for it. Berkhold starts to jump in too, misses the Stormbolt, was anticipating Stork to move back, and that didn't happen. So they all get out from this. And at the bottom of the map, Arthas is still dealing with Gia and gets some additional damage in. Here comes the Swift Strike, both of them just nibbling at each other, trying to get those hit points low. 10 stacks already on the Regeneration Master for Nuburak. He wants those extra hit points, and both of the teams right away going for the camp again. Of course, a lot of pressure already at the top lane through the temple that was taken earlier, so the wall is down. But look at experience. Level 10 is close for the red team. They're going to have it a little bit earlier. It's not going to be a big window, but it might just be enough to get the lead on the shrines. And they are rotating already. Can you force a fight now? Stormbolt connects. So far, so good for them. Up to the top, both of them taking the camp. But this should now be a moment where we are going to see heroics on both sides. And yep, there we have it. Crushing Jaws are in. 10 on both now. And what do we have for Greymane? That's the bigger question right now. Is he going to go for the throat? Is he trying to blow up Tracer? Or are they going to play around the Cursed Bullet and go for a frontline snipe? Camp already taken. They take the Siege Giant camp and now they go for the play. Go for the throat has been captured. They're going for go for the throat here. The tanks are a little bit safer, but Banabir has to be careful. And here's the pressure. Again, pushing it out. First connect, going straight for Timeless. Half HP already. Shadow Walls with the damage. And here comes the Dread again, waltzing away. And they are taking control over the bot lane at this point. Berkhold looking for the opening, trying to contest it. Gets a bit more damage in. Here comes the Lightning Shield from Rhaegar. They have to be cautious. Toxic trying to walk down Greymane. The engage happens. The Jaws connect with only Rel. And here comes the Cocoon in the backline. No more Ancestral. And Urel is down. No, it's Ophia. Ophia is down. No heal, but Ophia falls. Sweden makes the connect and gets the kill. Great kill from Sweden. Even though Rhaegar was cocooned, they didn't need him here. And that's the kill that they now have to control that bottom temple. They get the lead. Sweden with a kill, 1-for-1. Arthas with the rotation immediately up to the top side. Good job against Sophia. They make the kill happen. And now they're trying to go for the second one. They try to go for Stork. He gets the stun through, moves away slowly but steadily. And they're attempting to even turn it around. Tracer is already on her way down to the bot lane. Trying to see if she can maybe get something done here. Banabir needs to be careful. Stormbolt missing. Gia on the side with Genji, waiting to see if he has a chance to make a play himself. Ancestral keeping Timeless alive, even through the bomb from Tracer. And Farlander moves out of the fight. It's still basically dead even. I mean, look at this. They more or less exchanged even shots on the temple. And they're still looking for the kills. Another Stormbolt connects, and that, of course, gives Muradin now another one for the baseline. Gets the stacks together, sitting at 9. And they're trying to make the play for the camp. They're taking it. Stork is anchoring the play. He's making sure nobody's moving in. And here in the middle, we have even Arthas now being in the area. Just making sure that if there's a fight, he can make the rotation work. Whew, they go for Berkhold, but they don't connect the first stun. And again, Urel jumping in, everybody going to defend the camp. Up to the top, Greymane is pushing the wave in against the fort, and Arthas is making the rotation. But down here at the bottom of the map, they apply a bit more pressure onto the fort itself. Russia is pushing it, especially at the bot lane. But they have to be careful. This is still a setup in which the 4-man of Sweden can definitely get a kill. If they set those stuns up, if at any point Genji is going to be able to swift strike in and get those final few hits, they can make that work. Especially now that Greymane is starting to rotate into the middle. He's close. Even attacking the boss here. Never really going to make the the go for it at this point. Not without having a talent advantage or a number advantage. Stork stunned. They go in for him. But here comes the Nature's Cure and the turnaround attempt right away. Genji is sitting at the side, looking for a chance as we have Rhaegar once more with the healing totem, covering the retreat and making sure that everybody is being topped up in HP again. 13 against 10, the Talons, but only for a few seconds, and then we're going to see Sweden take the next Talon here. It's a trade. 2 temples on the map and they're trading. One going for the bottom, other one in the middle. Both are going to walk away with a fort destroyed. And with the level 13 Talon, we are now... Ooh! Yeah, Tracer, you need to be careful. That Stormbolt hit hard, and Greymane is there. Greymane is always there. Invasive Miasma now taken 2 on level 13. Stalk also going for his additional Carapace Talon, making sure that he has a bit more damage now in these fights too. The Earth Shield, of course, from Rhaegar is going to keep them a bit safer, while he's trying to channel the Ancestral for the heals. But we have another camp taken. The invade comes a bit too late. Sweden is looking for the fight, but they're coming too late to really contest the camp here. And both of them going for the temple. The bomb on Greymane. Tracer trying to threaten Greymane to make sure that he can't go into deep and go for the throw here. There's so many stuns. I mean, it is really back and forth, and you can definitely feel the adrenaline in the air here. I mean, this is a crazy game. You get 1 kill, especially if Russia gets one, before they use Cocoon. They can then force a fight shortly after. And this can snowball quickly, and they all know it. They all know it. Siege Giant at the bot lane got a bit more pressure onto the lane itself. Now we're having another play for the map. But if you look at the map, they're basically making the same moves the entire time. They're going for their camps. They're trying to go for invades. They're trying to just share the temples. But the next one is again going to be a double. Top and bot side. That tiny lead in experience that we have for Russia. It's going to give them the talents a little bit earlier, but so far that hasn't made a difference. And it is intense. One wrong move, end up in 1 stun combo, allow for 1 salvo of burst damage skills to be thrown through, and you are dead. And then your opponent can take the momentum, and then you have to hope for a mistake. Tracer again. Moving in, seeing the trap, moving away from it. It's all about the camp at the left side right now, and it's about boss. You can't allow anyone to sneak the boss in. If that happens, you might fall too far behind, and Arthur shows top side now. Arthur shows at the top lane. He's trying to take down this one first of all, but can they capitalize on it? They're not going to make a play for boss, not in that situation. And Rhaegar is currently at the bottom of the map, already waiting for the temple to activate. Tracer is still dancing around. Arthas is going to try and take the top side, and as long as the rest of the team is guarding the boss, it's going to be fine. But look at the talents. 16, so close. It's a small gap. It's a small gap, but it's there. If you can force it around that, that might be all you need. And Arthas is actually starting to rotate. They want to fight around it. They want to get 16 and fight around it. And Sweden wants to fight before it's there, but the 16 talents are in, and everybody's moving away. Orphea is in trouble. Shadow waltzing away. Here comes the X-Strike. They're going for it. Arthas is ready, and the Cocoon has already hit Genji. The jaws are crushing, and they're crushing hard in the back line. Greymane survives as Rhaegar throws out the ult, but they're going now for Timeless, and Urel is about to fall. Urel is dead, and they're going for Genji. Gia is slowly dying. 50 hit points, and strikes away. Unbelievable. And they go for the boss. They go for the boss, not even for the temples. They're trying to make the play for the boss right away. Currently, Russia, they have a bit of a lead here. And at this point in time, how is Sweden going to react? They have to de-push the top lane too. The camp that Arthur's obliterated, the opponent's camp, the other one is now pushing in. And here's the boss. Boss is taken, and now they go for the bottom of the map to try and get the temple. And of course they can rotate top now. They again have the pressure against Bergholt. Muradin jumping away. They're waiting for Urel. She's barely back, but the bottom fort is already about to drop just as the boss arrives. And now Sweden has to face the music, and that music is pretty loud. Bot lane is in trouble. It's not over until the fat lady sings, but this is definitely a blow against Sweden. They fought valiantly to make it into this 5th game, but Russia has taken the lead. Bergholt is looking to potentially force the fight behind the boss. Arthas isn't there, but he's on the way. He's making it. As we speak, 16 talents now on both sides. That boss still wailing away, and Bergholt barely gets out. He barely gets away. The bomb! And he survives. Close call. Clutchy at this moment, but the boss is already going straight in for the keep. And you don't want to lose that, but it's not looking good for Sweden. If they lose this, and catapults are going to pressure the bot lane entirely, the entire time. Again, the collapse of Fear with the attempted damage, and Malfurion, he's so low and he gets dropped first, but they try the turnaround kill against Muradin. It's not working. Henning, oh my god, he survives with like 2 hit points. Tracer goes down, Swamp Grotta dies, and again Farlander of Fear with the damage. Pam, pam, pam. One Shadow Waltz after another, chomps away, gets the Dread in. Unbelievable, nearly getting a few more kills. Rhaegar barely, oh no! Genji is down, the keep at the bot lane has fallen, and they make it an even trade. What a setup. Russia with the plays here. They are losing heroes, they barely miss out on a kill against Rhaegar. He got away with a few hit points left. Even Muradin just survives with the skin on his teeth. Gets the Ancestral through, and still they are able to trade evenly. 4 kills against 3, their final map here. And Russia has taken the keep at the bot lane. They're taking the temple bot side. So much pressure now. The forts have all fallen on the Swedish side. It's a 5 versus 4 of the map because of the delayed kill against Genji. And the top temple is still in play. And Russia goes for it. They're taking their own camp too, and things are looking grim for Sweden. Heavy pressure at the bottom of the map with the catapult and the siege giants. The temple itself already attacking the wall at the top keep. Russia has to make, Sweden has to make a play at some point. Russia is trying to play this as safe now as they possibly can. They're moving through the top. They are level ahead. They will have the earlier 20s, and at this point, Sweden is thinking about eventually to take the boss. Last few shots are now about to be taken, and Sweden is starting to push in. But look at the bot lane. Once again on the minimap, you can see the camps are pushing in, the catapults too. It's a 2-prong attack here that we're seeing at this point. And Sweden, how are they going to play it? They're risking taking damage on their core. Russia is moving away from the temple. They're moving away from it. They're not risking anything here, but the Stormball is still hitting a Nubarak, and immediately the turnaround attempt against Berghold. Muradin gets the Ancestral, and in comes the quick Colossal Totem from Rhaegar. Sweden forcing the fight. Bot lane in trouble. Nubarak on the run. Toxic on Arthas, popping the army here. But we don't have Cocoon used yet. They didn't use the Cocoon at this point in time. Banapir moving in. Tracer trying to look for the kill. Swamp Grotta is in trouble. All of a sudden, Nubarak is coming in. Urel is jumping in, trying to create some space. Muradin jumping out. Sweden on the run. The Cocoon is finally committed to, and they get the kill against Timeless. Timeless is down. Muradin is dead too. They get the double kill. They have 20, and they make the play for Greymane. He's dead, and Nubarak kills Genji. No! Yes! Genji X strikes away, but he falls shortly after. The bottom of the map already in trouble, and Russia on their way to the core. Only Rhaegar is defending, and he's a fierce beast, but even the wolf can't bite that deadly bites. This is crazy. Russia takes it. They go for the core. It's game 5, and after the loss that they received on Dragonshire with 8 kills against 3, Russia still makes it happen. They take the game. They take Sky Temple, and they advance to the grand final of the tournament against France. What a series and what a game.